Good evening, everybody, and welcome. It's good to see all these faces at our board meeting this evening. So we will now return to our regular session. All right, moving on to section 4.1, moment of silence and pledge of allegiance. Ms. Underhill, do you mind leading us in the pledge? And our moment of silence, please. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Ms. Underhill. Okay, moving on to section 5.1, address agenda and consider adoption or recommend changes. Ms. Hill, any items that you'd like to move around or pull from consent?
Yes, actually, I would like to pull item number 8.10.
I'll need a second for that.
I'll second.
Ms. Contra, we have a request to pull consent item 8.10 by Ms. Hill and a second by Representative Pingarelli.
President Sandoval, at this time, will there be any other changes to the agenda?
Yeah, what I want to do is go through the entire board member seats and see if anyone else has any other items. Dr. Sorensen, any items that you'd like to move on the agenda? No? Ms. Underhill? Yeah. Representative Pingarelli? Okay. So, Ms. Contra, I do have some items that I'd like to move around. So I'd like to address 10.1 through 10.5 and 10.8 immediately following the superintendent comments. And I do need a second for that.
I will second.
Ms. Contra, let me know when you're...
You should be able to vote now. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, let me actually make that motion to... Oh, that works. So I do need a motion to adopt this agenda and approve consent without 8.10 and moving 10.1 through 10.5 and 10.8 immediately following superintendent comments.
I'll second.
Yep, just need the motion.
I move to make the changes as stated.
All right. I'll second that. So, Ms. Contra, we have a motion by Ms. Underhill and a second by myself. Board members, please cast your votes. Sorry, my little monitor in front of me is out, but looking over there at the big screen, motion passes 5-0. Thank you, board members. It's yours out too. Hey, Ms. Contra, just FYI, okay. All right, we'll continue along as they're doing so. All right, moving on to section 6, 6.1, recognitions. Ms. Airy.
Good evening, President Sandoval, members of the board, Dr. Reynolds, and guests. We have two incredible recognitions for you this evening. The first is one that our governing board members and community may be familiar with. It is from Cactus High School, which many of you know is home to a stellar robotics club. They are led by Mr. Adam Schroyer, and they're called the Cobra Commanders 498. They're made up of top students who build internationally recognized competitive robots. You heard me correctly. They're internationally recognized. Mr. Schroyer and his students are not new to excelling in the world of robotics, and they are extremely proud to be recipients of a couple of new awards. So we wanted to invite them here this evening, not only to recognize them, but to also show off their robot, which you may see if you are here in the room, right in front of our governing board members. They have brought that in to highlight this evening. The first of the two awards is the Chairman's Award. It was received at the Arizona North Regional Competition at Northern Arizona University. The Chairman's Award is the most prestigious award at FIRST, a nonprofit organization that provides advanced STEM education to youth. In this competition, teams of high school students are challenged to build industrial-sized robots that will play field games in alliance with other teams. The Chairman's Award honors the team that best represents a model for other teams to emulate and embodies the mission of FIRST, which is to inspire young people to be science and technology leaders and innovators by engaging them in exciting mentor-based programs to build science, engineering, and technology skills. Through this, it inspires innovation and fosters well-rounded life capabilities, including, of course, many of those skills that we instill in our students: self-confidence, communication, and leadership. If we could, I want us to give a big round of applause to the Cobra Commanders 498. They have joined us this evening. Students, would you stand so we could give you a big round of applause? They really are incredible students. You may be seated. I do want to talk for just a quick moment about your leader, Mr. Adam Schroyer, because he is the recipient of another award, and we want to make sure that we mention and recognize him. He has recently been named Arizona Teacher of the Year at the 2022 Arizona North Regional Competition. This award is given to those teachers who give up their time, talent, and enthusiasm to support their students, specifically in robotics. So congratulations to you, Mr. Schroyer, if you would please stand. And to our Cobra Commanders 498, I know I had you all stand, but I'm actually going to go through one more time and name each one of you because we are so proud of you and we think what you have achieved is so incredible. And after that, I will invite Mr. Schroyer up so that governing board members, certainly if you have any comments for him, you may share them with him. But to our students that you see present today, representing Cactus High School so well, Caleb Distel, Gavin Distel, Kylie Harris House, Haley Wells, Will Cook, Fuad Azjahari, Logan Pelkey, Garrett Harmon, Alex Pearson, Julian Kaiser, and Judah Wood. One more big round of applause for them. You may have noticed the proud principal from Cactus High School, Mrs. Christy Hammer, who joins them as well. And I know some very proud guests that are with us as well from Cactus. So Cactus High School, thank you for all you are doing. And Mr. Schroyer, if you would come up to the podium, please.
Thank you, Ms. Airy. Mr. Schroyer, how are you, sir?
Great, thank you very much.
Good. Well, board members, questions, comments? Ms. Hill?
Well, congratulations to all of you. That's pretty impressive. I really want to see that robot go. I don't know what it does. I don't know if they fight, but I want to see something happen. I'm kind of intrigued. They light up. It's pretty awesome. So I don't know if you want to give us a demonstration at some point tonight, but I will not be against that at all. So
We're ready for that. So whenever
very, very cool. Yeah, it's really amazing. So I'm really proud of all of you. You make us proud. You make us look good. Keep it up, and you're on to great things, I'm sure. So congratulations to all of you.
Thank you, Ms. Hill. Dr. Sorensen?
Yeah, I'm very familiar with Cactus High School and the concept of robotics, and obviously not just the industry, but just the concept of the analytical thought, right? The troubleshooting, the real-time anxiety of competition, all of those post-secondary skills that you're building through class and extracurricular activity. We're just very grateful for you guys and just the opportunity, Mr. Shroyer, Ms. Hammer, and the opportunity that Cactus provides for you kids. This will serve you for the rest of your lives. And congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Sorensen. Ms. Underhill?
Yeah, a huge congratulations to you guys. That's really, really amazing. I have to give a shout out to Logan because I had him in 3rd grade. And you were amazing then, kiddo, and I'm so glad you got to be part of this great team. And thank you for leading them, Mr. Schroyer. Appreciate that. I, too, want to see how that thing works. And I have seen some of your robotics work at some of the different festivals and stuff around the different schools. And I think that's really awesome that you guys kind of inspire our elementary and middle school students to know that they have something really cool like this to look forward to when they get to high school. So awesome job. Keep up the good work, and thanks for the demo.
Thank you, Ms. Underhill. Representative Pingerelli?
I just want to say congratulations also, and thank you for being here. This is kind of out of my wheelhouse that you're doing, so I would love to see a demonstration also. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Representative Pingerelli. And yeah, congratulations again, Mr. Schroyer, Ms. Hammer, students and families. What an accomplishment. My wife's actually a graduate of Cactus High School. I won't reveal what year she graduated, but it's been a couple years. Anyway, but to kind of piggyback on what Dr. Sorensen stated, I mean, just all of those skills that you have certainly continued to hone as individuals, you know, from a human perspective, and de-escalation and collaboration, and how you resolve, you know, any even different opinions, right, when you're working on your projects is just invaluable, you know, as you continue along in life. So congratulations again, Mr. Schroyer. Thank you for your leadership. You know, it's you know, again, our teachers and staff here throughout PUSD and certainly Cactus High School and what you do for our kids to continue to not only uplift them academically, but uplift them from a human skills perspective is invaluable. So thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Are we going to see a demonstration now? Or
Yeah.
I mean,
Julie and Will, you guys want to?
Dr. Reynolds, were you going to take a photo with them, or? Sure. Why not?
So yeah, they're gonna kind of demo what the game changes every year from year to year. So this year we have to pick up kind of these oversized tennis balls and score them into there's a 2-tiered goal in the middle of the field. And there's 6 robots on the field at a time, and then the end is kind of a monkey bar style climb where the robot has 4 different levels that they can grab onto the bars and climb, and they get more points the higher they climb. So again, this was built all by the students, all their work with mentorship from industry mentors from our community and other teachers on campus as well. So Will, you guys want to kind of give them a general, do you want me to take you guys know how to do it. So the green light you see on the front is a vision camera. So they actually have a heads-up display on their laptop that gives a real-time view. Because the field is about the size of a basketball court, a little bit bigger. So it gets pretty tricky. Just don't damage anything, please. And then the light that you see kind of on the back, that actually gives them an indicator of their sensors in the robot itself that tells them how many balls that they have in their possession, so they know from across the field. So if you guys want to turn and like intake and outtake. Or turn and shoot. Turn and shoot's fine. You can shoot low. So the intake comes out and kind of like Pac-Man, it sucked up the balls, and then once it's in there, you guys can do a low shot if you want. I don't want to take a. So it doesn't seem very powerful in here. The high shot would probably hit the ceiling, and I don't want to have to pay for a new roof or anything like that. So the low shot's a very low goal, but we have the capabilities of both. And if you guys want to kind of demo the climbers for them as well. So those go up, and it's a bar that they drive into, and it hooks, and then they pull the climbers down, and it lifts itself up. It stays in place, and then once we're up, we have a secondary set of arms that swing out. Maybe, no, not today. It's being shy. I don't think we have air right now, but these arms, I'll just show you. These arms actually both swing out like this and grab onto the next level up. They hit it, and then the robot pulls itself down and pulls up to the next arm, kind of swings. So this is designed, programmed by the students. They learn all of the skills, CAD, manufacturing, in conjunction with our robotics and automation course at Cactus High School. So most of these students have either taken the first level course, or actually we have 3 8th graders on our team from other Peoria Unified schools as a part of our program. So they're kind of our future that we're getting ready to go for next year for high school. So. Oh yeah, and we're heading next Wednesday. We're leaving for Houston for the World Championship. So we're going to compete against about 450 other teams from across the world, and so we have a very good chance of doing well there, and we're hoping for the best. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's worth mentioning when Mr. Schroyer is not busy leading the robotics team, he is serving up some incredible culinary delights in the culinary program at Cactus High School. So a man of many talents. Congratulations to you, Mr. Schroyer, and to the Cobra Commanders. We're so proud of you. So President Sandoval, members of the board, Dr. Reynolds, if I may, we have one additional recognition this evening, and we're moving from STEM and robots to the arts. I know many of you were able to come out and attend the 20th annual Peoria Arts and Cultural Festival. It took place Saturday, March 26th in Old Town Peoria. We estimate that there were more than 15,000 people in attendance that day, enjoying the arts, our highest attendance yet. Most of them came and were able to watch their students as they performed or see their artwork that was on display. But something new this year, they were able to engage in a way that they have never been able to before, as we had a number of different opportunities set up throughout the festival for families to stay and to actually participate in the arts. We had more than 3,000 students that were featured that day with dance, choir, theater, band, or strings. There were 135 art boards strategically placed throughout multiple city blocks, featuring more than 3,000 pieces of visual art from preschool all the way through the 12th grade. To say that we are proud of our arts education team and so elated that our community was able to come out and take part in such an awesome day would really be an understatement. We wanted to take just a quick moment to share with all of you and with our community some of the highlights from that day. If you would turn your attention to the screens. Well, the Peoria Arts and Cultural Festival, as you can see, is truly one of our favorite events and longstanding traditions here in the Peoria Unified School District, and it would not be what it has become without our dedicated arts education department. This evening, we'd like to recognize our Director of Arts Education, Mr. Robert Panzer, as well as his team, Mrs. Stacy Hamilton and Mrs. Justina Riley, who lead the efforts from here at our district office. Would you stand so we can recognize you, please? And they have a leadership team that this year was out in full force, engaging in every aspect of the festival. I know we have many of them here, but I think it's also worth naming each of them. Leah Cripps, Aaron Heinen, Kate Manasco, Cheryl Tucker, Jeff Malone, Richard Robles, Carlos Ariano, Catherine Stremmel, Jeremy Selam, Samantha Barthel, Kelly Freeman, Noelle Philbin, Sarah Scoggins, Tanya Richter, Samantha Spencer, Molly Triveline, and Frank Eager. Congratulations, and thank you for all your work. And I think it's important for our community to know that the Peoria Arts and Culture Festival is a partnership between the Peoria Unified School District and the city of Peoria. We're very, very proud of that partnership and how it extends even beyond the Arts and Cultural Festival. If you recall some of those other arts collaborations, were a community arts project that highlight artwork wrapped on many of the utility boxes that you see throughout the city of Peoria. I think one of them even features Mr. Panzer's artwork, if I'm not mistaken, if you find yourself over near Peoria High School. We have also partnered with the city of Peoria in a contest where multiple students' artwork were chosen and are now featured on the Loop 303 freeway. These collaborations, as you can see, really do run deep, and we're really blessed with the relationship that we have with the city of Peoria. It was recently recognized through Westmark with a Best of the West award, and we thought that it was a perfect time to invite Mary Lou Stevens from the city of Peoria here. She leads the arts education, or arts rather, efforts with the city of Peoria, and she had a team that was also integral in bringing this festival to life. So Mary Lou, thank you, and thank you to the city of Peoria. And I'm going to invite Mr. Panzer and also Mrs. Stevens up in case you have any comments to share. Before I turn the microphone over to them, I just want to note, if you haven't had enough of the arts just yet, if you tune into NBC Nightly News this weekend on Saturday at 4:30, you will see the Sunrise Mountain High School arts team, the drama department, as well as Tanya Bamey, featured on Nightly News for some great work that they're doing at Sunrise Mountain. So I want to encourage our community to tune in there. Mr. Panzer and Ms. Stevens, I will turn it over to you and to our governing board.
Thank you, Ms. Aaron. Ms. Stevens, Mr. Panzer, welcome. Congratulations on another successful event. Board members, questions, comments? Ms. Hill?
What a great event. It was so much fun. Got to participate and go, and it was amazing. I mean, it was a much bigger event than I had expected. It was phenomenal, and you did an incredible job pulling it all together. I can't imagine the effort and the time that put into such a great event, but it was a wonderful way to see a vast assortment of different types of mediums and art and music and dance and theater. It's all put up together, and what a great event. So I think you did a great job, and I'm looking for more of it next year and the year after that. So I'm definitely going to be going back. What a fun time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hill. Dr. Sorensen?
Yeah, I wasn't able to make it out this year, but I've been in years past, and it's just a great event, and I'm just very grateful, again, to all the arts teachers who provide those extracurricular events. And I know around playoff season, I always give shout-outs to the athletic teams, but, I mean, the people that I've worked with know how important I know the arts are, and the people on your team from the sites are just absolute professionals and just create an amazing experience for our kids. So thank you for creating this experience, and just a great way to bring the community together. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sorensen. Ms. Underhill?
Yes, I too was not able to attend this year, but I have in the past, and it was wonderful, I can tell, just from all the comments that I heard from everybody, and just, it's such a great partnership with the city, and just such great opportunities for our kids throughout our district in so many different, levels and different ways that we are able to introduce them to the arts and really fuel those passions. So greatly, greatly appreciate all the work of our arts teachers. I did get to empty bowls, so those were some really great bowls over there at Sunrise as well, but just really appreciate all that you make possible for our kids in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Underhill. Representative Pingerelli?
Well, I also wasn't able to make it, unfortunately, this year, but I have been in past years. And I just, I don't think I have an artistic bone in my body. My talent isn't there, but our daughters do in music and theater. And I see Mrs. Tucker here. I have to say a shout out to everything you've done for all the students, but particularly Kayla and Angela. So thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Representative Pingerelli. And yeah, I'll due to the comments, I was able to attend and spend some time with you, Mr. Panzer, and it was, bless you, it was just to see all the number of smiling faces, at that event, and it was just very inspiring, without question. Dr. Sorensen talked about the arts and the impact that they have on our students. I mean, we are rich in opportunity here in PUSD regarding the success of our students, without question. I've played the bass since the 8th grade, and Ms. Hamilton, we will get in that jam session next year. I'll join you for sure. But just invaluable programs that we have and the arts, throughout PUSD at all levels, and our partnership with the city of Peoria. Ms. Stevens, it just doesn't happen without that relationship, and having relationships and partnerships like what we do with you and the city just continues to enhance the student experience and build on our capability and our capacity as an organization to ensure the success of all of our students. So thank you for that. And Mr. Panzer, your passion for this program, our arts program, and all of our art educators, Ms. Hamilton, Ms. Riley. It just, every time I walk, here at the district office, the three of you're always doing something. There's always something going on, and you're up and around and walking around, and it's like this think tank that happens in your office space there. But I just appreciate you always thinking with our students in mind, and how you adapt the programs and continue to evolve, and all the partnerships that you continue to bring on, and all those opportunities. So I just appreciate just the person that you are. So thank you for that.
Thank you, President Sandoval.
If there are any words that you want to express, or you have some time?
I just will say that for the city, this is one of the most important events that we put on every year, and we're grateful for the partnership as well, because these are the future of our city. So we want to make sure that the livability and the quality of life is right here, so that we keep all these great minds and great talent right here in Peoria. So thank you.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you for that.
And thank you, President Sandoval, for the opportunity. It is an incredible partnership that we have had for many, many years with the city of Peoria, but it does take a team, and I thank you for recognizing that and bringing my team forward of these 18 incredible educators. But really, it's 147 educators and what they're doing each and every day in the classroom that makes something like this possible. And it's those opportunities, and it is about the whole child. It's about the academics, the athletics, the robotics. It's about the arts, and it's all coming together, and that's why this is such a powerful event. And to see a room like this filled tonight is really a celebration of all of those things coming together, which is what we should be doing and what we need to be doing for our students. And so I'm proud to lead, but I'm more proud of the team behind the scenes that makes it all happen, and our arts educators on all of our campuses, and can't thank them enough.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Well said. Thank you. Congratulations again. Good, Ms. Airy? All right. All right, moving on to 6.2, board comments. Ms. Hill?
None at this time, thank you.
Okay. Dr. Sorensen?
No, sir.
All right. Ms. Underhill?
No, thank you.
All right. Representative Pingerelli? Good. All right. Well, I've got to kind of add to the, celebration of all of our programs, more specifically our art programs. I do want to recognize that we have some all-state ensembles that Peoria Unified is home to 4 of these amazing musicians, one of them being Anthony Jacobs from Centennial. Looks like he's one of 8 tubas, all-state band. Miss Monasco, thank you for your leadership there. And Isaac Carey from Ironwood, one of 50 tenors, all-state choir. Thank you, Mr. Hutter, there at that Ironwood. And Samantha Johns from Sunrise Mountain, one of 50 altos, all-state choir. Thank you. It looks like Bome, is that correct? Bamey, thank you. And looks like Chung Joy from Sunrise Mountain, one of 20 viola players in all-state orchestra. So thank you there, Mr. Osorio, for all that you do. Again, it's just, Mr. Panzer, what you said earlier, you're right. It's just another testament of what we do here in our district to make sure that all of our students are put in a position to be successful and thrive once they leave our walls. And it is a collaboration. It is a combination of athletics and arts and robotics, all of our STEM programs, and just amazing teachers and staff and leadership here in Peoria who continue to lead, with others in mind and with, big hearts, compassion, and empathy. It's just invaluable, and I've always say it, and I'll say it again. I'm really proud to sit in this seat. So thank you all for that. All right, Dr. Reynolds.
Thank you, President Sandoval, Governing Board, Cabinet, guests, most importantly, our students. We have some celebrations. I have some celebrations to present with you tonight. If you recall, on February 24th, we recognized Coyote Hills Elementary School student Ethan Greenwood for earning first place at the district spelling bee and second place at the regional bee. On March 19th, Ethan competed in the state spelling bee competition, and we were proud to share that he earned 5th place in the state. So that's really great. He represented his school and our district really, really well, and we're happy for his achievement in competing at the state level. In the last few weeks, Centennial High School's stunt team won the state championship. Liberty High School's hip-hop team won their state championship. And Peoria High School's Winter Guard won their state championship. So congratulations to all of those teams for their hard work and their achievements. I'd also like to highlight Liberty Girls and Boys Wrestling Coach Eric Brenton was named Girls Wrestling Coach of the Year, which was exciting. And we also had Centennial Junior Megan Hill, who was named to the Arizona Republic All-Arizona Soccer Team. And she shares the last name with one of our governing board members. So congratulations, Mom, as well. I'd also like to congratulate Peoria High School's Future Farmers of America chapter. They were recently named one of the top FFA chapters in the state of Arizona. Peoria was one of 8 chapters in Arizona selected as a gold chapter and will now be eligible to compete as a top chapter in the nation at the National FFA Convention this upcoming October in Indianapolis. This is the first time that Peoria has had this recognition in 16 years, so we're really excited for them. Centennial High School held the Relay for Life event last weekend, which raised nearly $50,000 for the American Cancer Society. The Bel Canto Choir, National Honor Society, Culinary, Engineering, the Gaming Club, and PSBN are student groups which all participated to support this event. So thank you for your contributions and your community service. Levi Knoll, a senior at Ironwood High School, who attends the Met Professional Academy, was chosen as a finalist for the School Connect Student Champion of the Year Award. This special award is given to a student who leads by example, inspiring others to be their very best. And likewise, Vanessa Blair, a teacher at Foothills Elementary School, was listed as a finalist for the Hero Maker Award for building trust, modeling resilience, and cultivating leadership. School Connect will be holding a special awards assembly on Thursday, April 28th, and celebrate all of their award winners at that time, and we're very excited for them as well. And with that ends my comments.
Thank you, sir. All right, moving on to Ms. Contra. I know we moved a few items up immediately following Dr. Reynolds' comments. Before we get into that section, though, entirely up to you, families and students. If you wish to exit the room at this point, you're more than welcome to. We'll press pause for a little bit. Thank you again, and congratulations. Yep. Have a great evening. Ms. Fesley, are we good?
We're ready.
All right. Okay, moving on to 10.1, consideration of an administrative appointment, principal of Copperwood Elementary School. Ms. Fesley.
Good evening, President Sandoval, members of the board, Dr. Reynolds, cabinet, and guest. This is such an exciting night for me as well as our district, as I'm going to bring several candidates forward for recommendation and consideration and approval tonight. Our first one is consideration and appointment of principal for Copperwood Elementary School. I'd like to introduce and welcome Dr. Diana Romero as the candidate to serve Copperwood Elementary School as the next principal. Dr. Romero is coming to us from the Cartwright Elementary School District, where she served as a teacher from 2009 to 2011 and has served as an assistant principal and principal since 2011. Prior to her roles in Cartwright, Dr. Romero also served as the certified media specialist for Indianapolis Public Schools. She has experience in positive behavior intervention supports, as well as Boys Town and the Leadership in Me program. She has also worked to bring the International Baccalaureate program to one of the middle schools in Cartwright, as well as served the school that housed the district's gifted program. Dr. Romero received her bachelor's and master's and doctorate degree from Ball State University. She holds a secondary teacher certificate, administrative certificate, and her superintendent certificate. We are excited to have Dr. Diana Romero joining us at Copperwood Elementary School next year. At this time, I ask that you consider and approve the appointment of Dr. Diana Romero as Copperwood Elementary's next principal.
Thank you, Ms. Fesley. Ms. Hill? Questions, comments? Actually, any questions, comments from Ms. Vesely? No? Dr. Sorensen?
No, sir.
Yeah. Ms. Underhill? Okay. So I do need a motion to approve the administrative appointment, principal of Copperwood Elementary School.
I move to approve the appointment of Miss Diane Romito as the principal of Copperwood Elementary School.
I will second.
Ms. Contra, we have a motion by Ms. Underhill and a second by Ms. Hill. Board members, please cast your votes. Motion passes 5-0. Congratulations.
President Sandoval, members of the board, Dr. Reynolds, I now would like to bring Dr. Diana Romito up here to the podium.
Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Good evening, President Sandoval, Governing Board, and Dr. Reynolds. I am very excited to come on board with Peoria. Got the pleasure of meeting the staff today at Copperwood, and it's just a wonderful place. I'm so excited to be here and be part of the team. So thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely welcome. Actually, if you don't mind taking a few questions or comments. Ms. Hill?
Well, congratulations. I think I overlooked you when I was meeting everyone in the back room. Didn't have a lot of time, so I apologize for not having the opportunity to actually meet you in person, but congratulations and welcome aboard. We're very happy to have you here and looking forward to future success at Copperwood.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hill. Dr. Sorensen?
Welcome and congratulations.
Thank you.
Ms. Underhill?
Yes, also, I welcome you, and we're glad to have you and all of your experience. So thanks for choosing PUSD.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Underhill. Representative Bigelow?
Just wanted to say welcome also.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, agreed. Welcome. It's just looking forward to you bringing, some of your knowledge, really all of your knowledge, sorry.
I'll bring it all.
Bring it all. But even some of the, best practices that you've realized along the way and that would further just be in line with how our mindset here at PUC from a continuous improvement perspective, welcoming those ideas, integrating those, and all focused around our students. So welcome, congratulations, and thank you again for choosing PUSD.
Thank you. Oh, I'm here tonight with my husband, Kenneth. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, appreciate it. Congratulations again. Ms. Vesely, let's move on to 10.2, consideration of administrative appointment, principal of Desert Palms Elementary School.
Well, thank you again, President Sandoval, members of the board, Dr. Reynolds. This candidate is just near and dear to my heart. I am just so excited to bring forth Miss Allison Schinkel to the role of principal at Desert, not president, but principal. You got me all flustered because I'm so excited for you. For the principal at Desert Palms Elementary School. Ms. Schinkel started her career in Peoria as an instructional assistant at Sun Valley Elementary School, and I'm proud to say that I was one of the assistant principals there when she was an IA, and I can remember going back to our long conversations of how excited she was having her children in Peoria schools and that passion and impact that she felt as an instructional assistant that led her to go into teaching. So just excited for me to see your growth. After she served as an IA and she got her certificate, she then started to serve our district as a resource teacher at Ira Murphy and Oakwood Elementary Schools. She then went on to serve as assistant principal for the last 5 years at both Foothills Elementary and Desert Palms. She most recently moved into the interim principal position at Desert Palms in December. And she's serving her community, her staff, and students in such a positive manner. Ms. Schinkel holds a bachelor's degree in education from Arizona State University West and has a master's degree in educational leadership from Grand Canyon University. Ms. Schinkel is here tonight, and I know that she has some family members with her, but at this time I'd like to bring her name forth for consideration and appointment.
Thank you, Ms. Mesley. Board members, I do need a motion to approve the administrative appointment, principal of Desert Palms Elementary School. I'll move that we approve the administrative appointment, principal of Desert Palms Elementary School.
I will second.
Ms. Contra, we have a motion by myself and a second by Ms. Hill. Board members, please place your votes. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, board members. Congratulations.
I'd like to now bring Allison Schinkel up. So, thank you.
That's okay.
Welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. President Sandoval, governing board members, and of course, Dr. Reynolds. You know, I've been in the district a long time. As Laura said, my children went through the district, so we are PUSD through and through. I love the district. I love my school. I'm sorry, get a little emotional, especially after Laura, all those wonderful things. You know, we're a community. PUSD is a community, as you all know. We're a community, and we all work together. I'm excited to have the new members with me, as well as the ones that I've known for a lot of years. I worked with Miss Underhill back at Oakwood, so I'm just thrilled to be here, so I very much appreciate it.
Yeah. Again, welcome and congratulations. Ms. Hill?
Well, congratulations. It was very nice to meet you a little earlier ago, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how you do at the school, and I'm thinking you're very well equipped, and I'm so glad to hear that you already have been a part of the PUSD family, basically. So I love to see the promoting from within.
Thank you.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hill. Dr. Sorensen?
Yeah, I love stories that start out as a classified position and you've done everything so you can relate to all levels and really serve all levels so that way everyone can find their best, and that's all we can hope for from a site leader, so congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Sorensen. Ms. Underhill?
I want to call you Madam President because I just think it sounds cool. But no, congratulations. You know, you're amazing. I'm so glad I had the opportunity to work with you for a short time, and I know that your relationships with the students, with the parents, with the staff are just, you know, bar none, amazing, and we're just really grateful that you're dedicated to PUSD. So thank you for your leadership, and best wishes in your new position.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Underhill. Representative Pingerelli?
I just want to say welcome to your new position.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, agreed. I mean, congratulations again. Yeah, it's just the what you've seen the district do as far as evolving, right, over the years. Well, I'm sure you've seen a lot.
Yes.
And your ability to adapt to that, right, as you sat in many different seats, you know, throughout the district. So anyway, it's just, I mean, having you continue to choose PUSD and choose to uplift students on a daily basis and wake up every morning, and that's your focus. I mean, it's just, it's, you know, we're definitely, the privilege is ours and the benefit ours that you continue to stay here within our district. So congratulations. Looking forward to just you doing some great work there at Desert Palms Elementary.
Thank you very much, and I'll do the same. My husband, Corey Schinkel, is with me tonight. Our girls couldn't be here because one lives in Montana and one is back in Tucson at U of A, so.
Very good. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thank you. Okay, moving on to 10.3, consideration of administrative appointment, principal of Oasis Elementary School. Ms. Fesley.
Well, thank you again, President Sandoval, members of the board, Dr. Reynolds. Tonight, I'd like to introduce another special person in my life, Mrs. Michelle Lewis, as the candidate for principal at Oasis Elementary School. Ms. Lewis started her career in Marion County Public Schools in Florida, where she served as a teacher from 1995 to 2002. She then went on to serve as administrator, dean of students, assistant principal from 2001 to 2006, and also served as principal at both middle school and the high school level from 2006 to 2014. At that point, she then moved to Arizona with her family, where she started here in Peoria in the Human Resources Department and served as a human resources specialist, and then as the director for human resources from 2014 to 2017. As life would have it, life takes her back to Florida for a few years, and we were so excited that again this year, Mrs. Lewis and her family's jobs brought them back to Arizona. And at this point, Mrs. Lewis is currently serving as the district's 504 coordinator under the leadership of Mrs. Lori Garcia, our special education director. Ms. Lewis holds a bachelor's degree in finance from Florida State University and a master's degree in educational leadership from Nova Southeastern University in Florida. We are thrilled that Mrs. Lewis moved back to Arizona, and we couldn't think of a better place to be than here in Peoria Unified. I am proud to be bringing forth Mrs. Michelle Lewis for your consideration and approval tonight to be the next principal of Oasis Elementary School.
Thank you, Ms. Vesely. Board members, I do need a motion to approve 10.3 administrative appointment, principal of Oasis Elementary School.
Okay, I move to approve 10.3, consideration of administrative appointment for principal Oasis Elementary School.
I'll second.
Ms. Contra, we have a motion by Ms. Underhill and a second by Representative Pingarelli. Board members, please cast your votes. Motion passes 5-0. Congratulations.
I'd like to now bring Michelle on up and for a few words, and I think you have some family members as well that you'd like to introduce.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, President Sandoval, members of the governing board, Dr. Reynolds, cabinet, and guests. I have to start, before I introduce my awesome sons, by correcting the record, only because I have generations of family members who graduated from the University of Florida, as did I. Oh, and it was mistakenly said that I went to Florida State. So if any of my family members watch and I don't correct that, I would be in big trouble. So I'll introduce my sons. Austin, who is a Florida State grad, is here. This is Austin and my son, Britt.
Welcome.
My amazing daughter-in-law is at home with our two grandsons, beginning the nighttime routine. And the foundation of our family, my husband is in Florida finishing a project that he's managing, but he will be back soon, and we are excited to all be together again. The opportunity to serve at Oasis is really a dream come true. I've never had the opportunity to be a principal of an elementary school, but boy, am I excited to do that, learn new things. Obviously, the leadership at the school under Melissa Dugood's leadership is leaving it in prime condition for someone to take over. I always say that student achievement data tells a story, and the data at Oasis is pretty impressive. It tells a story of a faculty and staff that is committed to the good work, and a leadership team that is as well. And I'm excited to grab the torch and keep going. And as I was reflecting on our district strategic plan and the things we lovingly call our 6 things, which are goals within the plan, one of them speaks to me. And in it, it describes our desire as a district to become leaders across the state and the nation based on the success of our students, continuous improvement in student achievement. And I want you all to know tonight, as I look each of you in the eye, that I accept that challenge. And I hope that you will come and visit us at Oasis, and I'm very excited about the potential that we hold to help lead us to greatness. So thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Ms. Hill? Oh, not,
I'm so sorry.
not getting away that easy.
Sorry.
That was a great story, but I'm just kidding.
Well, congratulations to
Thank
you.
you.
I'm very happy to hear, actually, that you're eager to come on board and that you have some good ideas. And sometimes it's nice to get, a fresh set of eyes in a new position as well. And it sounds like your dedication is definitely there, and your love of students and your passion for your work. And so I am very excited to have you aboard. Good luck to you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Hill. Dr. Sorensen?
What I can say is I remember your time here at Peoria, and 100% of interactions with you showed that you were an efficient, effective, strong communicator who truly has service in your heart. So I'm really excited to welcome you back. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Swanson.
Thank you, Dr. Sorensen. Ms. Underhill?
Yeah, I just want to welcome you back too, and I'm just really grateful that you chose us again. And I'm just really glad you got to come back from Florida, even though I know you guys have like an affinity for Florida. But Arizona's not so bad, right? So
We love it here, and they're with us this time, so the whole family's
even
here.
better, even better. Well, good. Well, welcome, and welcome to PUSD. Thank
Thank you.
again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Underhill. Representative Pingerelli?
I just want to say welcome back, and we're glad you're here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, agreed. Welcome back. And what I know of you is, as we've interacted here at the district office, and just your demeanor and just is always, you're always positive, and you're always smiling, and that is contagious. So in addition to from an academic perspective and a leadership role, there's no doubt that you're going to continue to model human kindness across that site. So thank you for that, and welcome back. And Britt, Austin, welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to 10.4, consideration of administrative appointment, principal of Estancia Elementary School. Ms. Vesely.
Good evening again, President Sandoval, members of the board, Dr. Reynolds. I hope I don't butcher this one this time. I'm crossing my fingers. I'm thrilled to be bringing forth our next candidate to you tonight for consideration of Estancia Elementary's next principal, Mrs. Megan Bennett. Mrs. Bennett will be relocating to Arizona with her family this summer, coming to us from Connecticut. Mrs. Bennett has served her communities in several different roles, and she is bringing a wealth of experience to our district. From 2000 to 2007, Mrs. Bennett served her school districts as a teacher, a coach, and a math coordinator from, 2000 to 2007 in Hartford Public Schools. She then moved on into the role of principal from 2007 to 2018. She's currently serving as superintendent of schools for Regional School District 12 in Washington Depot, Connecticut, where she is leading 4 schools with approximately 800 students. Mrs. Bennett holds a bachelor's degree in psychology from Siena College in New York. She has a master's degree in education from Central Connecticut State University and another master's degree in educational leadership from Sacred Heart University in Connecticut. She also has a specialty certificate for superintendent of schools from Central Connecticut State University. We are so excited to have Mrs. Bennett joining us tonight along with her family, and we couldn't think of anyone better to be bringing forth as candidate for Estancia Elementary School principal.
Thank you, Ms. Vesely. Board members, I do need a motion for 10.4, administrative appointment, principal of Estancia Elementary School. A motion to approve 10.4, I apologize. I'll move that we approve 10.4, administrative appointment, principal of Estancia Elementary School.
I will second.
Ms. Contra, we have a motion by myself, a second by Ms. Hill. Board members, please cast your votes. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, board members. Congratulations, Ms. Bennett.
At this time, I'd like to invite Mrs. Megan Bennett up to the podium.
Well, good evening. Thank you, President Sandoval, governing board members, and Dr. Reynolds. uncertain, my district just sounds absolutely adorable, isn't it? Like 800, you guys are like, oh, you're doing more than that at Estancia, right? But I have to tell you, I am so excited to join the Peoria family, and not just as a principal, but also as a new parent to the district, because we just put an offer on a house that was accepted in Estancia. So I'd like to introduce my daughter, Lauren, and my daughter, Jordan, and they look forward to be part of this family as well. But I also need to introduce the only man I would go across the country for, my husband, Ken. We are very excited to join this team. And I have to tell you, standing back and talking to people who have been part of this district for years, what I heard about was the wealth of knowledge. I heard about how amazing people are, the approachability, and quite frankly, I felt that every step of this interview process. I have to thank Laura and her team for accommodating me, for allowing me to interview across the miles, and to make certain that I had this opportunity, because I'm going to tell you, I want to take it with both hands. It is wonderful, it is welcoming, and I truly appreciate this opportunity. So thank you all.
Yeah, no, thank you. Ms. Hill, questions, comments?
Well, you know, I like you already because your name is Megan, and my daughter's name is Megan. So you're kind of in.
Thanks.
But
With an H or without.
there you go. There you go. And to travel all the way across the country, that's amazing because we're so different. You wait till summer. Just you wait. You've never seen anything like it. You may want to move back. But we're just so happy to have you. I think you're going to be a blessing for that, you know, school. And I think from your past experiences, you definitely look like you're going to be able to command the ship very well that way. I do have to ask, what did you coach?
Oh, I was a math coach, so I was also a math coordinator for a number of years. So.
Very cool, very cool. Okay, it said she just mentioned coach, so I was wondering,
Yes.
oh, well, what did
No,
you coach?
I wish I was more talented. No, my younger brother was the Ohio State soccer coach. He was the assistant. So
Oh, okay. You're in good company.
I'll tip my hat. When you can't compete with it, you just let it happen. So.
Excellent, excellent. Well, welcome aboard. We're very excited to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hill. Dr. Sorensen?
Congratulations and welcome.
Why, thank you very much.
Ms. O'Neill?
Yes, congratulations and welcome to all of you guys. It's wonderful that you'll be able to live in the community and be part of the community. So we're grateful that you chose us, and best wishes with your new position. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. O'Neill. Representative Fingarelli?
I just want to say welcome also, and have you visited here in the summer?
I'm not going to lie. I'm actually really giddy over the fact of not waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning for a snow call anymore.
I hear you. I'm from Detroit. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, agreed. I'll echo my fellow board members' comments. Welcome. Pretty impressive that you put a bid on a home and got it within this market. That's fantastic.
We don't want to talk about what happened in between
Okay.
when I got here on today, but yes, we're excited about today.
Yeah, no, thank you. You know, I've said it before to one of the other, I guess, appointees, and you know, just bringing your wealth of knowledge, you know, to our district, our students, is invaluable to us coming from a different market. I mean, I'm sure there's you know, things that maybe you did a little bit differently that would definitely benefit our growth mindset again, you know, as an organization. So looking forward to that, looking forward to your leadership, and looking forward to you just doing a lot of great things there at Estancia. So welcome, sir, and welcome, daughters. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Have a great day. All right, moving on to 10.5, consideration of administrative appointment, principal of Liberty High School. Ms. Vesely.
Thank you again, President Sandoval, members of the board, Dr. Reynolds. I've made it through so far, tears of joy inside, and I'm so excited tonight to be bringing forth Mr. Sean Duguid as the candidate for principal at Liberty High School. Mr. Duguid has served this district for 24 years in a variety of roles. He started his career as a teacher at Oakwood Elementary from 1998 to 2005. In 2005, he was named assistant principal, where he served both Sundance Elementary School and Saguaro Ranch Elementary School. He was then appointed as the principal of Oakwood Elementary School, where he served the staff, students, and community for 6 years. Next, Mr. Duguid came up to the district level, and he served both as executive director over our elementary schools and as chief operations officer. He's not done yet. And as he and I spoke, he realized that he missed kids. And Mr. Duguid made a very important decision to go back and serve kids. And he decided that he wanted to go to the high school. And I thought, oh, wow, going to the high school, oh, my goodness. I applaud him for doing that. I am not a high school person, but he took on one more challenge on behalf of the district and on behalf of our students. And I'm so grateful for Mr. Duguid that he made that decision. He has been serving this year as Raymond S. Kellis High School Assistant Principal. Fun fact, both Mr. Duguid and myself actually started our full careers here in Peoria at the age of 5 in kindergarten. We were both at several schools, elementary schools, and we both went to Cactus High School. Go Cobras. Although I was a few years ahead of him, I'm just excited to share that knowledge and all that we've learned from the district from the age of 5 to now. So at this time, with great excitement, I am just so proud and pleased to be recommending Mr. Sean Duguid as Liberty's next principal, where I know he's going to continue to help us showcase the great teaching and the learning and the traditions that have been built at Liberty High School.
Thank you, Ms. Vesley. Board members, I do need a motion to approve the administrative appointment, principal of Liberty High School.
I beat you. I move to approve Mr. Sean Duguid for the position of Liberty High School principal as presented.
Okay, I'll second.
Perfect. Ms. Contra, we have a motion by Representative Pingarelli and a second by Ms. Underhill. Board members, please cast your votes. Motion passes, 4 yeas, 1 nay. Thank you, board members.
Mr. Duguid, it's time for you to come on up.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. President Sandoval, members of the governing board, Dr. Reynolds, and cabinet. I would like to begin by thanking Mr. Vining, Mrs. Borland, Mrs. Pyram, the Kellis staff, and most importantly, the Kellis students for welcoming me into their family this past year. They are an amazing group of people. Secondly, I can't tell you how excited I am about the opportunity to serve the Liberty community. I've been fortunate enough to watch the staff and students at sporting and arts events as a parent these past 2 years because my own children attend Liberty. Let me tell you how excited they are about me being their principal again, because they had me for 6 years at Oakwood. So excited that they stayed home. I look forward to continuing the tradition of excellence that has embodied that campus since its inception. Lastly, I would like to thank the board, Dr. Reynolds, Dr. Davidson, and Mrs. Vesley. Thank you for those kind words. It is truly an honor to be selected for this position. And I certainly would be remiss if I didn't introduce my beautiful wife, who is here, Ms. Melissa Duguid. So, for that, I stand for questions.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Hill, questions, comments?
Well, congratulations. Obviously, you have a long history with us, and you obviously also have a passion to be with the kids and to take on the position of principal. I admire that. I think it's a wonderful asset, and we're so happy to have you. And obviously, your name speaks volumes, so we expect you to do good.
Yes, ma'am. I will do my very best.
Yes, and so once again, thank you so much for coming on board. Congratulations to you, and the best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Hill. Dr. Sorensen?
No comments, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sorensen. Ms. Underhill?
Yes, well, I have to say, Mr. Duguid brought me on. He gave me my first job in Peoria Unified School District, and he obviously was in the league of the best bosses ever. So I am excited for the Liberty community to get to hear your inspirational speeches, to witness your amazing ability to build community, and of course to bring the breakfast meats, because that's going to be an important part of that team building. And I know that there's been a lot happening over the last couple of years, but I hope that, and I know that this shows that he has a plan, right? And it's great to see this plan come to fruition. So I also have to say that I'm going to have to be a little Team Melissa for the next at least couple years, because, I do have a Sunrise Mountain student and I'm a Sunrise Mountain mama. So
I certainly understand that. That should be fun within the household.
That's
Liberty
right.
Sunrise. Yeah,
But thank you for your leadership, and thank you for taking on this responsibility. We appreciate all of you, both of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Underhill. Representative Pingerelli?
Mr. Duguid, I just wanted to say welcome to your new position.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, agreed. And Ms. Festley, I'm glad you clarified where his career began, because since I was elected back in 2016, the story was always his career began as a star basketball player at Cactus High School. Yes?
Self-proclaimed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, going back to those days, Mr. Duguid, you are one of the first few principals that I met, but one of the first leaders in this district that I continue to grow and welcome, and I'm certainly grateful for the relationship, the working relationship that we have. Walking on the Oakwood campus and seeing those students and staff and their smiles and just everybody excited and inspired to do great things every day is a testament, to your leadership.
Thank you.
So, I appreciate, again, grateful really for your continued passion and commitment, to our youth, to this district, and taking on a pretty tall task there at Liberty High School. So, but if anybody can do it and do it well, and do it with the right mindset and the right heart, and very intentionally, it is you, sir. So I'm looking forward to you doing a lot of great things up there. So congratulations and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you all very much for your kind words. I really appreciate
Absolutely.
it. Have a good evening.
You got it. Ms. Festley, are you done? I'm just kidding. I thought you were just going to continue
For
going
now,
on
I'll
and
be
on and on.
back, but I would
Thanks.
like to just take a minute and ask our newest principals if they'd like to join me back in the superintendent's conference room. And I'll
course.
see you a little
Yeah,
bit
we can
later
press
on.
pause. Yep, absolutely. Congratulations again, everybody. Have a great evening. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving on to the other item that we moved up, which is 10.8, Governing Board Action on Employee Grievance. Questions, comments, board members? Ms. Hill?
None at this time.
All right, Dr. Sorensen?
No, sir.
Ms. Underhill? Representative Pingerelli? Okay. I don't have any questions, comments either. I do need a motion to deny the grievance for the reason that the administration did not validate personnel policy directly affecting the employee.
All right. I move that the governing board deny the grievance for the reason that the administration did not violate a personnel policy that directly impacted the individual.
I will second.
Ms. Contra, we have a motion by Ms. Underhill and a second by Ms. Hill. Board members, please cast your votes.
President Sandoval, I apologize. I am still typing that motion.
Oh, okay. Take your time.
President Sandoval, I've opened online voting.
You know, Ms. Contra, while you're doing that, I refreshed my screen just to see the line item that was removed from consent. So, oh, there it is. Perfect. All right, motion passes 5-0. Thank you, board members. Okay, we will now move on to public comment. 7.1, request to address the governing board regarding matters not included on the agenda. As a matter of housekeeping, the board president shall keep control of the meeting and require the speakers and the audience to refrain from abusive or profane remarks, disruptive outbursts, applause, protests, or other conduct which disrupts or interferes with the orderly conduct of the business of the meeting. Personal attacks on board members, staff, or members of the public are not allowed. It is inappropriate to utilize a public hearing, the public comment segment, or any other agenda items for the purpose of making political speeches. Engaging in such conduct and failing to cease such conduct upon request of the presiding officer will be grounds for ending a speaker's time at the podium or for the removal of any disruptive person from the meeting room at the direction of the board president. With that said, welcome everybody. It's great to see everyone. As always, we'll spend 30 minutes on public comments. It's 3 minutes per individual. And the district administration will certainly respond accordingly to the comments that are being made this evening. That said, we do have quite a few green slips this evening, so we did shuffle those to ensure some fairness around the order. So we will go ahead and bring on our first public comment from Ms. Michelle Sparks. I'm sorry, what's the last name? Whittemore. And do you have a green slip in here? Okay, let me find that real quick. So this will go there. Perfect. All right, sir, welcome.
Hello, I'm a little short, so I apologize. I'm gonna pull this down some.
No worries.
If you can't see me, I'll work on that. I just want to say thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak today. I'm actually here in reference to something that I have a little bit of a misunderstanding on. The fact of a response in reference to Transgender Day of Visibility. That is a moment, that is a time for individuals to be who they are, to be seen, to be recognized, not to change anybody's views, to say, hey, you have to be agreeable to who I am. You have to be agreeable to what I want to do with my life. I myself am a veteran. I'm Black, I'm white. I have an adopted Navajo daughter, and I am also transgender. Nobody would know that unless I tell you that. I'm not here to change your perspectives. I speak over at Estrella Mountain Community College to students, not to change their perspectives, but to say, hey, you know what? I am a person. I'm an individual. I don't expect for you to look at me and say it's okay for me to go through my transition. I don't expect for you to look at me and approve my testosterone shots or say that I'm demanding healthcare from anybody. What I'm demanding, if anything, is self-worth, self-love. The thing that everybody here wants for themselves. If we're gonna be in a school, even my 8-year-old daughter, we're not even part of the PUSD district, but I am here because I could possibly bring her to this district. But if my daughter can't even walk around with a shirt on that's pink to represent her father, to represent a person, why would I want her here? Why would I want her to be around other people who are going to discriminate my daughter just because my daughter is supportive of who I am, supportive of my own choice. I hid in the shadows for 34 years of who I was. I was a lesbian. I had a 36C chest, which I know that's a lot, but I need to tell you that because for me, that right there was my release. To be who I am, to look at my child and say, you know what? Do not hide who you are. And that's what being in a school is about. It is about saying, do not hide who you are. Let us teach you a path. Let us guide you down a path so that you don't go out there and become a drug dealer, so that you don't go out there and be mean to other people. We're not here in a school, any of us, even myself, to be a bully. Because that's exactly what that is bullying whenever somebody cannot just wear a shirt to say, I support you. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I myself, being a veteran, I didn't go out there to Afghanistan
Thank
to
you,
turn
Ms.
around and come
Whittemore.
back here and be treated that way.
Thank you. Next public comment comes from Ms. Chelsea Gleason.
Okay. Good evening, Governing Board member. My name is Chelsea Gleason, and I'm the parent of 3 young children in the district. I want to start by saying how impressed I am with Peoria Traditional School. In the fall of 2019, my husband and I began the very daunting task of school shopping. We are incredibly lucky that within a 3-mile radius of our home, we have 6 A+ rated schools to choose from. It's very important to us that our kids attend a school within our neighborhood. As parents, we did our due diligence and we toured these schools. We looked at classroom sizes, extracurricular activities, student-teacher ratio, and academic achievement. The school included Candeo, Basis, Great Hearts, Legacy Traditional, Sunset Heights, and Peoria Traditional. As I'm sure you are aware, only 2 of those schools are PUSD schools. The others are charters. As a public school teacher for over 10 years, I imagined that my kids would attend their home neighborhood school, never thinking that I would consider a charter. But the reality is, when you realize that your kid is going to attend Sunset Heights and their boundaries are closed because they're over capacity, life changes. It was hard for me to picture my 5-year-old sitting in a kindergarten classroom with 1 teacher and up to 28 to 32 students. Yikes. After hearing through word of mouth about PTS, I was sold. While I could spend my entire time bragging up here about all of the great things that PTS does, I also think that it's important to talk about some things that are not on the agenda. Many families and individuals in the district are aware of 3 schools closing and the new repurposing committee. I'm here to express my concerns about potential discussions happening at these committees. Since they are a closed meeting and only invited persons can attend, many of us are left wondering about the ideas being discussed. What are rumors, what are half-truths, and what are straight-up lies? Rumors have begun to spread that PTS would in time move to one of these schools. Whether these are rumors or half-truths, I just have to speak my mind before it's too late. My husband and I chose PTS for our family because it's in our community and in our neighborhood. One of the requirements for PTS is that parents waive the right to transportation. There are no buses to take their kids to PTS. For us, it's okay because it's in our neighborhood. It's walkable, it's within a mile. Most of the families at PTS took a similar journey that my husband and I did. Many of these families are shopping schools in the area. PTS has become one of the it schools to tours. We need to keep it that way. PTS must be visible and near these competing charters. I know that tough choices are coming with schools closing in the south and huge growth in the north. Over 1,800 homes in Elora Vita, potentially 3 additional apartments, as well as the apartments in Camino Lago and the D.R. Horton homes. Tough choices are going to be made to accommodate these kids. It is my hope that the board will see how valuable and critical it is that PTS stay in North Peoria. Because if we were to move south, I am afraid many families, including mine, would not follow and stick with the A-rated charters in our neighborhood. Board, thank you for your time this evening. I am not envious of the responsibilities and the hard choices that you have to make, but I trust that you will do what's best for kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gleason. Next public comment comes from Cody Gleason.
Hello, thank you. I just wanted to come up and address the board. My wife's much more articulate than I am, so hopefully you'll take her comments with a little bit more weight than mine. Essentially, I just wanted to come up and ask that with these committees where you're evaluating potential changes to schools, I know it's not going to be an easy decision. I know ultimately, just due to growth, you're going to have to make choices to rebounder schools or relocate, potentially PTS. But I would hope that when you're evaluating that, you're looking at where these families are coming from, where the children have to travel to. So as my wife had stated, we have to drive our kids every day. So if we were to have to relocate to one of those southern schools that would potentially be closing, we're then not able to make it with me traveling to work and my wife going to work in the coming year. So I just ask that you, one, keep us involved, keep us informed. So let us know as you're having these committee meetings, even if it's closed, even if you're not allowing new individuals to join the committee or participate, if you can just do minutes, post those minutes, share it with the public so that we have an idea of what's going on and what will occur as a result of that committee, so we can make kind of informed decisions as we go forward. I would be remiss if I didn't echo the comments that, the reason that we chose PTS is I went to Peoria Unified Schools growing up all the way from kindergarten through high school. I absolutely loved my experience. Hopefully you won't take this speech as a knock on Peoria schools, because you probably educated me better than I turned out, but I just want to say it's something that means a lot to us to have our children be able to have that traditional school experience, and everything from saluting the flag to wearing uniforms, being respectful to each other, as the gentleman had mentioned. So it's not something that we want to lose just because it has to relocate. So we greatly appreciate you taking the time and thoughtful consideration and involving us in that to the extent possible, with the understanding that you can't have a mob in a meeting. You have to have a select few. So just keep us informed as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McLeese. Next public comment comes from Ms. Trina Berg.
Good evening, President Sandoval, members of the board, Dr. Reynolds, Cabinet. My name is Trina Berg. I'm the president of the Peoria Education Association, and I am here to kind of remind ourselves and our community that our mission statement starts with every student every day. And when we say every student, we mean every single student. We have to be there to support, to make a safe place, to allow our students to be who they are, regardless of who they are. Our job is to make that safe space so that our students are willing and able to learn from us in our schools. We also have a diverse staff, and we need to keep that staff diverse. The more diverse our staff is, the better our district is going to be. We need to encourage people to work in this district. And unfortunately, if we have things that are out there in the community that make us not look very supportive of our diverse populations, it's going to discourage people from wanting to work here, and it's going to discourage people from bringing their students here. We have to be okay with every single one of our students. And knowing about these days, like Trans Visibility Day, knowing about these days is important to us. Honestly, I think every single one of us should have gotten an email to just let us know that this day existed. For those who didn't know, we tend to send out things on autism awareness. We tend to send things out on, hey, Ramadan has started. Keep an eye on your Middle Eastern Muslim students. They're fasting now. They might be lethargic, especially these first few days. Having just knowledge of this day existing should not be a problem, because every single one of our students should be welcome into our classrooms, and every single one of our teachers and staff members and educators should be welcome in this district. Beyond that, that's what that email said, and we need to stick to what that email said. It was a notice, and that's all it was. We need to be supportive of all of our staff, our students. We need to keep that in the forefront of everyone's mind. It's every student, every day. And we mean every student, regardless of where they're coming from, who they are, what they believe, how they identify, or what their sexual, oh my God, I went blank. Thank you, sexual identity is. Completely blank, sorry. It's been a long day. We have right now, according to our website that I looked today, we have well over 200 positions open between certified and classified, not counting administration, transportation, food service. We need to fill those positions, and we need to be attractive to people to come here. And one of those things that we need to do is be diverse and be accepting of all of our diversities. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Berg. Next public comment comes from Gillian, is it Ginn? Grimm, sorry, I didn't see that. What is, what is your, what's the last name?
Kays, K-A-Y-S.
Let me just find your green slip here. All right, welcome, Ms. Case.
Good evening, governing board members. My name is Dr. Stephanie Herrick Case, and I would like to speak to you tonight about something that is important to me, my son's education at Peoria Traditional School. My son is very bright. We knew early on that that math was his sweet spot. As his teacher, Mrs. Mabbitt, likes to tell us all the time, math is his sweet spot. He loves it. And when I started to pay attention to the classroom size at Vistancia Elementary and that they took away their accelerated HEAP program, I became concerned knowing that I had to put my child in an environment that he would thrive in and be challenged in. The class size at Vistancia Elementary, last time I checked, was anywhere from 28 to 32 kids in a class. I am a college professor and a family nurse practitioner. When I teach over 20 adults in a class, I go crazy. I couldn't imagine how one person teaches 28 to 32 5-year-olds. That hurts my heart. So this is when me and my husband had the daunting task of starting to look at schools outside the neighborhood. And we live within walking distance of Vistancia, so this was really hard for us. We toured the charter schools, and then we found Peoria Traditional School. We fell in love with PTS. We love the small class sizes, the rigorous curriculum, and that families are encouraged to be in the classroom regularly. Our school is our family. I also loved that it kept him inside the PUSD district, as my husband and I are both graduates from the Peoria Unified School District. And it is because of career and technical education that I am where I am at now. When I looked at the charter schools, there is no charter high school. So, okay, I'm gonna do a charter school from K through 8, but PUSD starts the career pathways in grade school. So I would be ultimately putting my kid in a high school where he didn't have that background too. So that was something else that we loved about PTS, is that he gets that career pathway from the beginning to the end. As you guys are making decisions about restructuring schools, I urge you to keep PTS in North Peoria. It thrives in this area, and these families have choices. If it were up to us, if we had to move to a different school, if the school was supposed to move to a different part of the district, you would lose a lot of these families to your competitors. I ask that parent representatives are present in these meetings for the affected schools, so that way we have a choice and a say in what's happening to our kids. We're all vested in these schools and what they mean to our children and the communities that are around them. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me.
Thank you, Dr. Case. Next public comment comes from Aaron Belko. No? Okay. Thank you. All right, next public comment comes from Ms. Christina Rogers.
Hello, my name is Christina Rogers. I'm coming to you, actually, I had a parent reach out to me. She was a little concerned about some things that were going on at Vistancia Elementary. She has a 7th grade daughter at Vistancia, and there's a couple of students who are identifying as ponies. Also some kids that are identifying as dogs. They wear collars and they bark at the kids while they're going down the hallways. The other thing is that she said that there's a couple of teachers that have been wearing Hell Week tank tops. And the only reason why I'm bringing all of this up is because there were 30 kids outside at recess singing God is Good. And they had a teacher come up to them and threaten them, tell them they will lose their recess for 1 year for singing God is Good on their own time, while they're allowing kids in classrooms to be ponies, dogs, and cats, and not doing anything to these children that are identifying this way, as well as teachers wearing Hell Week t-shirts. So it is very concerning for this to be going on in an elementary school. We know that it's going on in Liberty High School. There's tons of what kids are referring to themselves as furries at this point. But what I just want to point out to everybody here, and he was talking about being transgender and people calling us hateful and things for that. We do not hate that you are transgender or you're gay or you're heterosexual or you're a Christian or atheist or a Buddhist. None of us care. If that is what you believe and what you want to do, that is fine. All we care about is that in our schools, in our classrooms, that teaching is happening, learning is happening, not kids coming as dogs, cats, ponies. None of those things matter in a classroom. We're all there to learn regardless our background, what we identify as, what we are as humans, cats, dogs, whatever. But all I'm saying is can we just keep that out of the classroom? And let's just get back to teaching our kids reading, writing, and let the doctors, the psychologists, the people who are trained to handle those things do it. And the teachers who are trained to teach our kids to teach them. It is sad to me that everybody thinks that we are hating on these groups or these people. We're not. We just want our kids to be taught, period. And if I can't be a Christian in the school, then why are we allowing people to be dogs, cats, and ponies? So I just wish that the schools could we can all love each other. We can all get along. Let's just get back to teaching our kids, please.
Thank you, Ms. Rogers. Yeah, thank you very much. Next public comment comes from Josh Gray.
Good evening, President Sandoval, members of the board, Dr. Reynolds, and the awesome auxiliary staff that I won't forget ever again. It's been a while since I've been here and spoke. Last time I was here, there was a group of students that came here in support of their teacher, and that was extremely powerful to me. So tonight, I want to talk about the real backbone of the PUSD district, and that is the teachers. That's not to say that other faculty and staff aren't important, because, can't do it without the rest, but let's be honest. Teachers are the real backbone of educating our students in this district. I've had some great teachers in PUSD. At Cactus High School, my history teacher was amazing. But my favorite was probably my 8th grade history teacher, Mr. Peoria. He taught me about civic duty. There's more than just one way to learn in a classroom, why we study history, and even how to beat a full court press on the basketball court. I hope everyone had a teacher like Mr. Peoria that keeps them engaged and educates them, but I'm afraid that they won't have that chance. Teachers have been under attack recently, and it's really a shame. Arizona teachers have been underpaid and overworked for decades, but this is new. Teachers across the nation are being accused of trying to indoctrinate students or being labeled as groomers that are trying to influence students into a certain way of thinking. Teachers aren't superheroes. They don't have magic powers. If a teacher had that ability, there would be an end to interruptions in the classroom. There would be no such thing as late work, and no teacher in America would have to buy themselves coffee again. These attacks are having an effect, and combined with the low pay and busy schedules, Arizona's had a rough time filling teachers' positions. We have one of the highest teacher turnover rates in the nation right now because of that. Anyone going into teaching right now is going into it because they have a passion for it. They're not in it for the money. They're not in it for the glory. They're in it for the love of the game, right? They love educating, and that's why they're here. But no one's going to take a thankless job for low pay. So it's really important for me that this district does support their teachers. And so I want to give a shout out to all those teachers today because I know how hard y'all are working. And I want you to know that there are parents that are your side, are on your side. And to the folks that are demonizing teachers and attacking them for things that, quite frankly, are just blown way, way out of proportion, I want to let you know that what you're doing is you're chasing away the next Mr. Prepara, the next great teacher that these kids are going to look up to because they're going to not want to come to an environment that they don't feel safe in. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. Next public comment comes from Ms. Marcy Robb.
Good evening. Isn't it great that we have all these things available to kids? And can you imagine our schools without all the arts programs we just had up front, all the computer things we had? Those are amazing programs, and those are things that happen in our school day that is not reading, writing, and arithmetic. We have science, we have art, we have ceramics, we have theater. We have a lot of things that help a lot of our students do well. As a teacher, I'm so confused as to what anybody wants out of me anymore. I don't know why I come to school some days because I have kids that are gay. I have kids who are straight. I have kids who are sad. I have kids who are homeless. I have kids who didn't eat breakfast. I have kids who need a hug. I have kids who want to come in just to talk for no reason at all. And I have kids, as said before, who are going through a Muslim holiday right now. And I have 2 of them in my first hour class, and they put their heads down a lot. Had I not known this was going on, had someone not told me that, I would have had no idea. But I can keep an eye out for those kids, just like for Transgender Day. I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't understand why that's a big deal. We are here for all kids. This is a public school. And I understand the frustration of parents because they think so many things are happening in our classrooms, and they are. Because I have a kid that's crying, I have a kid that comes late, I have a kid whose mom and dad got divorced or split up. There's all those things that are going on every single day. And that is in my classroom while I'm trying to teach. So when I have a kid who has their head down crying, they might need some social emotional support. And we want to get rid of our social workers, we want to get rid of our counselors. And I hear people saying, gosh, when our kids wore masks, they were harmed socially. They weren't able to do what they needed to do. I understand that. But we're also tying our teachers' hands by saying, as a board, as a district, you got to teach these things, but you can't say these things. So what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to deal with that? I'm unsure every day how to handle situations. Who do I call? You know, it takes a village to raise kids. I was raised by my coaches in school. They taught me teamwork. They taught me responsibility. They taught me how to be a good citizen. I was taught by teachers. I was taught by my parents. I was taught by my peers, my kids, my friends' parents. And I don't understand why this is so divisive all the time. It's every single kid in our district that needs an education, whether we agree or not. I am not Muslim, yet I recognize them. I acknowledge them. I'm not gay, yet I acknowledge them and I recognize them. I'm not a lot of things, but I still support those kids in their goal and their journey towards life.
Thank you, Ms. Robb. Thank you for your time. Next public comment comes from Ms. Jody Brackett.
Let me get right to the point. We are not saying stop giving help to the children that need help with a licensed counselor, that with their parents, with a school, that if they need help, just stop creating the problem. When I found out a teacher at the school at Desert Harbor was caught sending out emails within the school to the staff and participate in this transgender movement, this teacher told the children to wear certain clothes to show Transgender Day of Visibility. We are not saying not to wear.
Ms. Brackett, I'm going to ask you to
Okay.
pause just for 1 second. Ms. Contra, can you just mark this time? I want to make sure he gets their time back. Ladies and gentlemen, please refrain from any comments while there is a speaker speaking. I'd appreciate that. Thank you. Can we get, I think it was 2:15 when I paused. Is that right? Is there a way to get? Okay, sounds good. I apologize, Ms. Continue.
This teacher told the children to wear certain clothes to show Transgender Day visibility and wear colors of the trans flag. We're not saying that children can't wear pink and to support their transgender families. It's advertisement. It's virtual signaling. We are tired of it. This teacher has told the other teachers and emailed within the school to pay attention to these kids that have done this and say, I see you and I support you. Well, thank God that this got leaked out because someone knows that this is wrong. Yes, this is wrong. There is no other way to put it. Who in their right minds would think that this is okay to teach 4th, 5th graders this gender sexuality agenda? This is a movement. People, this is a movement. This is an advertisement to keep advertising to our kids that this is okay, sexuality agenda. This is no accident, no coincidence. This has been creeping in our schools for a long time now. And if this is happening in my school, in my Desert Harbor, it's in yours. If people don't stand up, your kids, you're not going to recognize your school, you're not going to recognize your children. This trans gay agenda is designed to break down the individual emotionally and confuse the child. It is designed to break up the family unit. We are witnessing kids are being told by the activists / teachers, yeah, we have wonderful teachers, but somehow we got other teachers that want to be activists and to advertise and to tell their kids that they have choices and be who you want to be. And it doesn't matter what your parents say.
Thank you, Ms. Brackett. I appreciate your time. Next public comment comes from Ms. Francine Long.
Am I allowed to mention by name the teacher that just, no, I cannot mention name. Can I mention her honorific or her pronouns? Because do the children know that at school? May I? Do they know that? Are the children addressing her by her preferred pronouns at school and by her preferred honorific? I want to know that. Because if so, then it's not just a personal matter. It is an agenda that's being promoted. So can I mention that, or is she off the table?
She's off the table, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, then I'll abbreviate my speech. A teacher at Desert Harbor Elementary expressed joy at getting students to participate in a gender-affirming event at school. Okay, this is okay. This event is forcing kids to accept that that someone can be either something that is not male or female, but another non-binary entity, and that is an absurdity. It is false. Okay, I will state that. I will also say that the honorific, that I'm not saying that anybody has this honorific, but I'm saying the honorific MX was created by queer theorists who seek to deconstruct the male-female binary. They did the same with Latin X to eliminate the Latino-Latina binary. It turns out, no surprise, Latinos hate being called Latinx. There should be no curriculum devoted to gender being separate from sex, period. There should be no classroom time devoted to forcing kids to conduct a personal assessment of their own gender preferences or inclinations. This means not asking girls if they prefer sports or dolls. This means not asking boys if they prefer to dress as superheroes or as princesses. This means not asking either one if they prefer pink or blue. This is being done to cast gender-based norms as oppressive rather than natural. This is being done to encourage kids to reject the fact of their biological sex if they fail to conform with every sex-based norm. This is being done to groom girls into believing they are actually boys, and for boys to believe they are actually girls, thus encouraging them to seek transitioning without parental knowledge or consent. Just as bad or worse, queering encourages kids to reject the norms of their parents, that their parents believe in and wish to instill in their own children. It drives a wedge between the kids and their parents in order to destroy parental authority and family cohesion.
Thank you, Ms. Long. Time. Thank you for your time. And that
Thank you very
concludes our public comment section this evening. All right. All right, moving on to the items that have been removed from the consent agenda. It is 9.1, the Northern Arizona University Internship Agreement. We have public comment on this as well. So we will listen to, the district has any comment on this line item? We'll listen to public comment and then board comments and questions. Huh? Just one item. We don't have a presentation. Okay. Let me see if I can find that. All right. Public comment that we have tied to this line item, it comes from Ms. Heather Rooks.
Yes, good evening, board members and attendees tonight. I read through this contract and I just had a quick couple of concerns in the contract with intern psychologists. I understand you're trying to help them go towards their degree and get that services, but I didn't see anything in there with parental notification or parental consent when they're working with the students. And I also saw that there is an on-site supervisor, but I wanted to know what is the ratio. I know, Dr. Reynolds, you told me about the social workers in the district, how many we have employed, how many are interns, and that we have 5 supervisors that oversee the 18 interns. So I wanted to know what the ratio would be for the on-site supervisors if we were to bring in intern psychologists. Kind of making sure, you know, these are interns that are going to be working with our kids and doing assessments and IEPs and all those things, and also making sure that the parents know that they're coming into school and what that kind of looks like. I know outside psychologists in doctors' offices, if they have an intern that they're, you know, hosting in their office, they always ask the parent if the intern can sit in on the session with their child. So I just kind of wanted to know if that would be possible to add into the contract, just so that parents are clear and then it's made known at every school with this. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ricks. Ms. Hill, I believe you're the board member that pulled this line item. Do you have questions, comments for the district?
Yes, actually, I kind of basically want to echo what Ms. Rooks was mentioning with regard to this contractual agreement. I don't know if we could get this in a Friday report. I feel a little uncomfortable voting on it at this time to find out exactly if parents are allowed to opt out of this, you know, if the intern was available for said child, could the family opt out? Are they informed? And I think possibly Ms. Rooks mentioned how many interns would be applicable. I thought she said 18, but I'm not sure about that number. And I also was wondering, are we paying for these interns? And if so, because it did mention minimum wage in the contract, but I wasn't sure if we're going to give minimum wage, above minimum wage, exactly how much is that going to cost the district? So I just had a few questions about the contract before we move on.
President Sandoval, Mrs. Hill, if I could just interrupt, we've got members of our team here that can answer some of those questions. So I might ask you to start over.
I will start.
I don't think they were writing down those questions. So
Sorry, I wasn't sure
that's
who
okay.
to direct it to. I was kind of looking to see. Let me just start with the question, if parents are informed of the use of interns with their children, and if so, if they're uncomfortable with that, are they able to opt out? Because a lot of this is personal information. This is, well, I mean, they're college, but I'll call them a child still, learning, and so that might be something that might not be a comfortable situation to have personal topics and issues brought up with an intern from NAU. So I was wondering, where do we stand on that?
Thank you, President Sandoval, Mrs. Hill, members of the board. First of all, we have had psychologist interns in our district from different universities for the last 10 years. We have 4 positions in our district, and they are paid positions. It is something they are classified exempt, so it's not at the rate of a psychologist. It's probably about half of what a psychologist would make. It is required as part of their year-long and their end of their program that they have to do an internship, much like student teachers. But our psychologist interns have to fulfill a full year of an internship. So they do work alongside a school psychologist. I'm going to allow Mrs. Garcia to speak a little bit more on behalf of that. But we do have other agreements, and we have had them in our district. And again, they will work alongside the school psychologist. And why don't I have Mrs. Garcia share a little bit more about what they do?
So they would attend the multidisciplinary evaluation team meetings, our MEP meetings, and so parents are aware beforehand, right, that the intern is working alongside. They're not on their own like a student teacher. We would not let them conduct the evaluations right off the top by themselves. They're working closely and learning how the psychologist is asking questions, how they're scoring the evaluation. So the psychologist is always alongside. They're sharing the same office. So in the IEP, the parent is also informed that the intern is providing services alongside. They're together. Again, the psychologist isn't allowing the intern to go alone to provide those services. Parent is well aware of what goals and specially designed instruction, that's all part of the IEP process, and knowing what needs are. The IEP team creates those needs together and what they're working on. So parents are aware throughout the whole time through the IEP and the evaluation process.
And having them be aware, are they able to opt out? Many times if you go to a doctor or a psychologist, if they have an intern, they usually ask you, is it all right if this intern joins us? Are they able to opt out?
I would say, because there's so many evaluations, if a parent was uncomfortable having an intern do the evaluation or be part of the evaluation process, it wouldn't be a problem. We have several evaluations per campus that the intern would have many others to conduct and get that environment and exposure. So if a parent was uncomfortable, that would be fine.
I appreciate that. I just want to, make sure that parents have control, and if it's sometimes these are very personal things, and physical ailments or whatever it may be that maybe they don't want to share with more people than they have to, right?
We have about 80 evaluations per year, so if 1 or 2 opt out, there's so many more that the intern will have that exposure to.
I think, Mrs. Hill, also, they are working within the individualized education plan. The goals are written by the IEP team. The parent is part of that team. So any of the work, when you hear of counseling or you hear small groups, are going to be related specifically to that student's individualized education plan and the goals that are written specifically to support the student needs.
And I guess the only other question that I might have with regard to privacy issues is the intern isn't able to keep any of the information. Obviously, it's completely confidential. They don't get to keep it, that sort of thing, right? It stays within the school?
They don't get to keep it. And it's usually in a database, right? We have an IEP Pro digital system, and it's all going in there. So they're not keeping any information.
Okay, thank you. I'm just, just trying to figure this all out, just to make sure that, we keep our students' and parents' issues at heart. So we're sure to make sure that they're taken care of. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hill. Dr. Sorensen? Ms. Underhill? Yeah. Representative Pingerelli?
Now, this is one topic I've had questions come at me about, and I'm glad that some of them were answered today. I did talk to Dr. Reynolds before, and I would like to table this and just move it to the next consent agenda, the next board meeting. You said that the date, it's not going to cause a problem?
If we were to delay the vote for 2 weeks, would that? Okay, thank you.
Just to make sure all questions are answered.
Okay. A couple questions from me. Ms. Garcia and Ms. Vesley, can you talk about just our district's protocol as it relates to confidentiality, especially with our students, and more specifically in your department?
Yeah. So every year we do a confidentiality, FERPA, HIPAA training, and so that is done yearly. People know. But the other thing with our school psychologists in that field, the ethics that they have to uphold is a lot higher than just our regular confidentiality FERPA, HIPAA agreements that we abide by. The dignity, I think that's another important part, the dignity when going into an evaluation meeting, right? And now you're talking about what areas of the evaluation need to be assessed, or what are we going to assess. All of those are not only held with high confidentiality, but also dignity to the families, to the student. There's a lot going into those meetings. It's an emotional process too, so we want to make sure we do that. And that's, I think, what you'll also see in the agreement, that their ethics they have to abide by is also very important. They also have training on that. So high confidentiality.
Yeah, I would imagine. Thank you for that. Last question, when we talk about these types of internship programs, certainly it's going to benefit the NAU student in this case, but what are some of the other feature function benefits, as a district that we realize, based on these internship programs?
Right, they get to learn the Peoria way, how we go about conducting those evaluations, our community, our family, even learning our IEP Pro system, which is our digital system. That takes a lot of that learning curve. It's also a way for us to recruit psychologists. Psychologists are very hard to come by, so if we can recruit and build our own, this is a perfect way to do that. It also, now we have someone and we can hire as that goes through, and the learning curve isn't as steep. They've learned a lot of it. Every district has different assessments available to them, so they're learning the multitude of assessments. If you think about, they're doing cognitive assessments, and there can be up to 10 different cognitive assessments. You're doing academic assessments. We can have 5 other academic assessments. So they're learning all of our assessments along the way. Our own language, our culture and climate, all of that is learned throughout that year.
Thank you for that. Well, there's no doubt. I mean, there's as a district, we are sensitive, to the confidentiality but also the emotional, certainly, I guess, effect of, this type of engagement, with our district. So thank you both for that. Representative Pingerelli, certainly, if there's no, Dr. Reynolds, Ms. Garcia, certainly no, I guess, negative impact on, moving this to the subsequent board meeting. Certainly open to allowing for more questions to be asked and answered, based on this line item. So I'll leave the motion up to you.
Okay. I'd like to move that, let me see. I don't have it in front of me. Which item is it? Which number?
So it's going to be in section 9. The item is removed from consent. So it's the...
Okay. Move that 9.1 be tabled until next board meeting and then be placed in the consent agenda.
I will second.
Ms. Contra, we have a motion by Representative Pingarelli and a second by Ms. Hill. Board members, please cast your votes. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, board members. Thank you, Ms. Contra. All right, we are moving back to our action items section. And Ms. Contra, correct me if I'm wrong, we are now at 10.6, correct?
Yes, President Sandoval, that is correct.
Okay. So 10.6 is the consideration and approval of rehire list for the issuance of letters of reasonable assurance, LORAs, for classified staff for the 2022-2023 school year. Ms. Vesley, welcome back.
Good evening again, President Sandoval, members of the board, Dr. Reynolds. Tonight we are bringing forth our letters of reasonable assurance for our classified staff, both our classified hourly and our classified exempt, for the 2022-2023 school year. As you remember, our compensation is not included in the letters of reasonable assurance that will be going out pending board approval tonight. That will be coming later on. When you hear a little bit later on from Mrs. Myers, we'll have that as a discussion item and then as a vote in our future board meetings. The lists are presented as presented here, and at this time I ask that you approve the consideration of our rehire list for our classified employees, and with that we'll be able to get our LORAs out tomorrow morning.
Very good. Thank you. Board members, questions, comments on 10.6? Ms. Hill?
None at this time. Thank you.
Dr. Sorensen?
No, sir.
Ms. Underhill?
No, thank you.
Representative Pingarelli? Yep. I don't have any questions either. So I do need a motion to approve 10.6, consideration and approval of rehire list for the issuance of letters of reasonable assurance for classified staff for the 2022-2023 school year.
I'll move to approve 10.6, consideration and approval of our rehire list for the issuance of LORAs for classified staff for the 2022-2023 school year.
I will second.
All right. Ms. Contra? We have a motion by Ms. Underhill and a second by Ms. Hill. Board members, please cast your votes. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, board members. All right, moving on to 10.7. Temporary extension of classified compensation and work calendar for classified staff in support of summer school. Ms. Vesley.
Thank you once again, President Sandoval, members of the board, Dr. Reynolds. This agenda item is for us to bring back information to you regarding the rate of pay for our classified staff for summer school and summer activities. The current board-approved rate of pay for classified staff working summer school or summer activities is $12.80 per hour. Last year, we temporarily increased that rate of pay for summer school and activities to support students and the learning loss that occurred as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The request and consideration is to continue this temporary increase for classified staff to pay those employees at their current rate of pay instead of the board-approved rate of pay of $12.80. In many instances, our classified staff would be performing their same duties for summer school as they do during the typical school year. Hence, that is an extension of their current letter of reasonable assurance. And it is also due to helping support our learning recovery efforts, knowing that COVID-19 has hit our district in many different ways this year again. So let me give you an example. If a classified employee were to take a different position, let's say we have an instructional assistant that would then maybe serve as a registrar or an office assistant, they would get the rate of pay, the beginning rate of pay for that position. But if they were hired as an instructional assistant and that is their typical role during the school year, they would get their current rate of pay. Approving this agenda item also aligns to the consideration and approval for certified staff to receive their temporary increase of $40 an hour, and that was approved back in the January 27th board meeting. So at this time, we look forward to your consideration and vote to support our classified staff and our students during the learning recovery that will happen this summer.
Thank you, Ms. Vesely. Board members, questions, comments on 10.7? Ms. Hill?
None at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Hill. Dr. Sorensen?
No, sir.
Ms. Underhill? Representative Peoria? Yep. I don't have any questions either. With that said, I do need a motion to approve 10.7, temporary extension of classified compensation and work calendar for classified staff in support of summer school. I'll move that we approve 10.7, temporary extension of classified compensation and work calendar for classified staff in support of summer school.
I'll second.
Ms. Contra, we have a motion made by myself and a second by Ms. Underhill. Board members, please cast your votes. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, board members. Ms. Vesely. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to section 11, discussion items. 11.1, fiscal year 2023 budget development update and compensation recommendations. Ms. Myers, welcome.
Well, thank you, and good evening. President Sandoval, members of the governing board, Dr. Reynolds, and community, thank you for the opportunity to provide information regarding the ongoing fiscal year 2023 budget development work and recommendations for not only our budget next year, but staff compensation increases. Tonight, I will provide summary information on the district's budget process and considerations, priorities, and progress to date for compensation recommendations for next year. During the budget development process this year, we have previously shared at past governing board meetings priorities and goals that have been identified by stakeholders and the governing board in recent years. This includes targeted priorities, including employee compensation, instructional resources, and facility utilization, which we have been focused on this fiscal year as well. A key consideration is that this is a multi-year process and that our work should be viewed over several years as progress to date. On this slide, we've highlighted past key outcomes, including salary schedule enhancements over the last few years and a continued focus on compensation and classified staff, compression rather, and our classified staff in addition to certified teachers. And again, I like to highlight work that we've done in the area of base increases. Our compensation increases should be reviewed not only annually, but over time to truly provide a picture of the progress that is being made. Over the last 5 years, combined compensation increases to employees' base pay have ranged from 22.1% to 30.87%. Employee stakeholders have historically provided input to the annual budget process and compensation recommendations through a budget team. It's a work group with representation from employee groups throughout the district, including employee association members. The budget team is not a committee of the governing board. It is a work group, a group of employees that administration brings together each year to provide input on compensation as well as budget priorities, including increases to pay rates, stipends, positions, staffing modifications, and our benefit renewals each year. And of course, all final budget recommendations are brought to the governing board for approval. Here's a list of our members this year, and we've shared the list before, but just to celebrate that we started off the process with 35 members, including a mix of certified teachers, certified non-teaching staff, classified and administrative representatives, as well as representatives from our business office and HR. And of course, those members are not voting members, but rather representatives, and they help facilitate the process. And so we started early. You'll recall we started back in October. October 6th was our first meeting. We've had 12 meetings to date, and we actually have another meeting on the books for Monday, April 18th. During the fiscal year, I have presented several times with updates to the governing board. The next few slides will simply summarize at a very high level information that we have used throughout the process for budget projections and budget development. And here's the classic slide. I like to show the scales of internal and external factors that we consider when making a budget and compensation recommendation. These factors have to be considered. Of course, enrollment is so important. That's the foundation of how we're funded. Base support level with the equalization formula each year, new state funding initiatives, minimum wage increases, employer paid benefits, utilities, fuel costs, contracted service costs, and then, of course, the inflation impacts that we've been facing, as all employers have been facing in the last year. And right now, inflation's at 8.5%. We're at a 40-year high, and that really does affect the cost of everything from fuel to purchasing supplies. It really is impactful, and you'll see we've increased some of our projections for next year to recognize those continuing inflation factors. Over the last several months, there have been a number of compensation recommendations that we've brought to the governing board that have already been approved and have been benefiting our employees to date. You'll recall going back to September, that was the first recommendation we made that helped with recruiting and attracting and retaining staff. We also made recommendations for our bus driver compensation, increasing their pay, and in December, there was approval for a mid-year increase for classified hourly staff, 65 cents, to match the pending minimum wage increase that went into effect on January 1st. So we've done work to date that's already supporting our students, and that will continue into the new year as far as the hourly rate increases that were previously approved. In addition, most recently on March 10th, the governing board did approve the fiscal year 2023 retention stipend for staff, and this year we did something a little different. We phased that retention stipend to recognize longevity, and based on the number of years the employee has been with the district, if they sign their contract or LORA on time and return to work to start their assignment in the new school year, and they're with us when the stipend is paid, they'll receive the retention stipend. And again, depending on years of service, it can range from $500 to $2,000. Tonight, we're sharing information for discussion purposes. The board many years ago asked if we could bring this information forward over to board meetings. And so, of course, the first time we bring the recommendations forward is in a summary format for discussion purposes, and then we'll be bringing back tonight's recommendations on April 28th for potential action from the governing board. The budget team and administration in recent weeks has really been focused on not only updated budget development, but compensation work that focused on base pay increases and offering the highest percentage increase possible, as well as prioritizing a consistent increase for all employee groups. Performance pay, classroom site fund, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the expanded eligibility for classroom site fund in just a couple of slides, and then staffing changes and new stipends are also part of that conversation. Budget recommendations are based on projections, and we start our projection process in the late fall, early spring, and really in January we can start putting some projections into our pro forma where we believe they'll come to fruition. And so we always do base our projections on information to date from the state of Arizona, and of course we include the continuation of our 13% override, with this year the assumption that we'll have stable enrollment. So our pro forma is based on our enrollment being at the same level this year as it will be next year. Now, of course, you can have growth, but we're being very conservative and basically treating our enrollment as static for the performance that we're working with. And at this time, we feel comfortable with a projection for fiscal year 2023 that additional funding is going to be capped at 2% because the inflation funding restoration and the formula is capped at 2%. And you'll note 2% is very different than 8.5%. And so that's challenging because new funding isn't in alignment rather with actual inflationary pressures that school districts have that impact their expenditures. And of course, an open item is that the legislature is still in session, and final outcomes that may impact our budget are still unknown at this time. Examples of additional budget considerations to date that we've included in our pro forma is a benefit, actually. This is a good thing. State retirement system is reducing their rate. We haven't been able to share that for a few years. Normally it goes up. They're actually reducing the rate for both the employer and the employee by 0.24%. And so we're projecting that will actually save Peoria Unified approximately $425,000 next year. So that's a good thing. We shared back in February that we had an increase for our benefits, and the board's already taken action on that increase. That was initially in excess of 16%, and we made some plan design modifications and reallocated some of the proportionate distribution between the employer and the employees and got that down a little bit, but ultimately we're absorbing $3.4 million of that increase in our pro forma for next year, and we're planning to address that through a combination of using cash controlled fund and direct cost as well as M&O carry forward, and a portion of it will also be covered from our net position with Valley Schools. We are planning for a general liability insurance increase next year, as well as fuel cost increases. We've experienced an increase of $750,000 this year related to fuel costs. Just like everyone with their personal vehicles, we've incurred an increase, and so we're planning for a similar increase next year. And of course, if the costs come down, that won't come to fruition, but we have to plan for it. As well as with minimum wage increases and competition for staff, we believe our custodial outsourced service will most likely increase as well next year by an estimate of $385,000. During the peak of COVID-19, especially the uptick we saw in the fall, we had an increase in sub-costs in fiscal year 2022. Now, of course, there's some unknowns in the future on how that will impact subs next year, but we do anticipate if there is an increase again, that we would cover it from our ESSER grant. So there would not be an impact on our maintenance and operations budget. And then, of course, come January 2023, there'll be another minimum wage increase. So those are some considerations with the scales of things that we're considering within our pro forma. And so school districts, as I've shared, are funded based on student enrollment and a base support level that is part of the funding formula for next year. We are projecting $5.6 million of new maintenance and operations funding and $17.2 million of capital funding based on, again, that 2% cap for the inflation funding increase and stable enrollment numbers. Based on the fiscal year 2023 based budget projections, administration with budget team input will be bringing forward our formal recommendations on the 28th. And again, tonight, this is for discussion purposes, and we can take feedback from you. We have that meeting with the budget team already on the books for Monday, April 18th. So again, we'll appreciate your comments as part of this presentation. The budget team has recommended to administration a 3% increase for all employee groups to their base pay for employees who are eligible for a raise. And so there's some criteria within policy on who qualifies for a raise, and the estimated cost, the impact to M&O is $5.2 million. Another area of focus was the classroom side fund. During the fiscal year 2021 legislative session, spring of 21, a new law was passed and went into effect related to classroom site fund and how those monies can be expended. And one result was that there was an expansion of the eligible staff who can receive that funding. And it was expanded to include student support service positions. And you'll see on the slide we have listed examples of what those positions are. I will note that we have treated our guidance counselors in a similar way to our certified teachers from a classroom site fund perspective. However, their portion of base pay, that would be the equivalent of a teacher's increase for classroom site funds currently funded from M&O, as well as their performance pay, and that is because, you'll see the note on the next slide, back in 2019 we did a self-assessment and determined that those guidance counselors needed to be in M&O. So we've been planning for that and paying for that inclusion for some time. So they're not newly identified. We've been providing the benefit for some time to our guidance counselors. So with that, you'll see our analysis, and it's based on the Joint Budget Legislative, I'm saying that backwards, the Joint Legislative Budget Committee releasing an estimate for classroom site fund next year and the amount that districts can plan on. The estimated amount per weighted student count is $708 per student, which is a decrease from fiscal year 2022 of $25. So in 2022 it was $733. This year it's $708. However, I previously shared last year that that delta in part was a $211 one-time increase. There's a small amount related to COVID-19 enrollment declines, and then a one-time payment for an increase in revenue that the state had allocated, but there was no guarantee it would continue. So from a budgeting perspective, we treated that as a one-time amount. Now that in this next year, it's synced up and the difference was really only $25, we feel comfortable moving forward with the full $708 per student and that's per weighted student in our pro forma for budget purposes for next year. And that results in new funding of $8.4 million. And it's a combination, again, of the change in the support level as well as a change in enrollment between the 2 years. So recommendation from the budget team to administration includes the continuation of the optional certified teacher classroom workday with an estimated cost of $600,600. In addition, the recommendation includes a 10% increase to the base pay salary amount from the classroom site fund. That was a recommendation. This would result in an average increase of $453.18 in that eligible staff member's salary. So when you say 10%, it's not 10% plus the 3%, it's 10% of the amount of the eligible employee's compensation that's funded from classroom site fund. So I always like to clarify that because sometimes people try to add them together and that wouldn't be appropriate. It's the portion that is attributable. And so you can see on the slide that the average would be $4,985 in total, part of the compensation for that eligible team member. So again, 10% increase, and the estimated cost for that increase would be $1.9 million. Recommendations also include providing all newly eligible student support services staff with a classroom site fund base support level that aligns with the current certified teacher classroom site fund compensation structure. So we would bring those newly eligible employees into the same structure that we've had for our certified teachers and guidance counselors, which are, again, funded from M&O. And back on this slide here, you'll see the note at the bottom, and I've shared this before, that portion from M&O that supports our guidance counselors. We also budgeted the impact of the increase to M&O, and that's listed on the slide, and it's also in our pro forma. And this increase would have an estimated cost of $900,000 to bring those newly eligible employees into the classroom site fund funding structure for base compensation. During the budget meetings, there was also discussion and focus on performance pay and merit pay. And the budget team recommended to administration that we should keep the performance and merit pay levels static, no change. to the actual amount, but again, to bring in the newly eligible staff per state statute to be considered for performance pay. And so that's where you're seeing that $504,000 amount. That would be the estimated cost to the Classroom Site Fund, new dollars, to bring in approximately, and this is an estimate based on current employees right now as we take that snapshot, 149 employees from the group of newly eligible staff. So that's a recommendation that was made. In addition, going back, during the budget development process, schools and departments across the district submit staffing and stipend requests each year through their administrator and ultimately to district administration. For fiscal year 2023, there were a lot of needs identified. Several $1 million of needs actually were part of the initial request in the package that we started looking at. It was submitted for review and consideration, and through that evaluation process, a small population was then brought forward for budget team input, and the budget team did make recommendations accordingly as part of that. And so we're going to highlight on the next few slides new stipends, positions, and reclassifications that are being recommended. And you'll note that not all of these come from M&O. So if it's a non-M&O funding source, we've identified it. Special Education Department did put in several requests that we've listed that would include increase in stipends as well as new stipends. And when we have questions at the end, I'll ask Mrs. Vesley to help me if you have questions on that particular portion of the recommendation, as well as a new district auditorium lead coordinator for our auditoriums district-wide, and a couple of new stipends for choir, band at the elementary and high school level. The evaluation criteria not only included looking at the actual job description to determine if the employee's responsibilities had changed, but it was also important to look at external competition for similar positions and prevailing external wages, as well as a combination of the factors. And so with that criteria, there are two recommendations as well for our AP technicians and warehouse assistants. A new position in career and technical ed, again, where it's grant funded, we have that notated, as well as our high school bookstore managers were prioritized, and our budget team did approve these. And food services, there were a number of related reclassification requests that will be funded from the National School Lunch Program grant that supports our food and nutrition program with an estimated cost of $150,000. So there's some pretty comprehensive work that will be taking place in food service, and that's important because there's exceptional competition right now from outside employers, and it's very hard for all of our departments to hire, for us to offer competitive wages, and so we believe this reclassification work will pay dividends for our food service department. And with that same line of thinking, our technology department, our Chief Technology and Operations Officer is currently looking at a comprehensive reorganization for the department to allow the district to be more competitive, especially with these very technical positions where in industry they have a very high salary rate. And we've had a number of challenges hiring in this area as well. And the goal is, an initial approach does appear that we may be able to do that with a budget neutral outcome by addressing and closing a couple of unfilled positions. So Mr. Molino's doing that work. And with that same lens, our facilities team will also be evaluated for potential reorganization, some movement, especially with key areas with maintenance and grounds crews. We've struggled to hire people throughout the year, and it's really impacted us from an operations perspective. Again, the goal is for this to be budget neutral. Administration has also recently reviewed positions in the Director 1 and Director 2 grades and determined that over time, the job responsibilities in both grades have changed and evolved where truly it's become one grade. You really couldn't clearly say this is a Director 2 or a Director 1, and so the recommendation, and the budget team did also agree with this recommendation, is that there should only be one director level. And the budget team, again, would support it being at a Director 2, grade 6. If we evaluate all of our current directors, there is only one director employee that is below the initial entry level of $81,354 for a Director 2 minimum salary. So you can see that movement has kind of pushed everyone up, and the estimated cost to move that individual would be less than $1,500. So the recommendation would be to have the one grade 6, and to rename the Director 1 grade 8 position to be an assistant director level. So in time in the future, as there are assistant director positions that come online, they would be that grade 8. And also to change the labels at the top to say hiring range versus min-max. So that was a recommendation. And again, with our budget development, it's been based on new funding projections and known expenditure considerations to date. Compensation recommendations that we're reviewing tonight can be covered by the projected new funding for fiscal year 2023 and would not require a transfer from capital to M&O. The estimated M&O cost of the reclassification, reorganization, stipends, and new positions that were summarized tonight are projected around $120,000, and that's almost a cap. We're not expecting it to exceed that amount, and so we have that built into the pro forma, as well as a number of the other considerations that I highlighted earlier in the presentation. Now, of course, we're still in the midst of the legislative session, and there are factors that could impact our fiscal year 2023 budget development. And this includes one area that we've been watching is a strike everything amendment to Senate Bill 1269 that is currently still being considered by the legislature. This amendment would change the school district funding formula and provide new options to school districts on how they are funded for transportation. It would also provide an option for districts to receive additional capital funding at the same level as charter schools, if, and that's a key word, if they meet certain eligibility requirements and the district voters also approve the change. And what some of the requirements are, you can't have a current bond or override, you can't have outstanding bond sales as an example. So just looking at draft language as it stands at this time, Peoria Unified would not be eligible for that additional option based on the criteria that's currently in place. And the aggregate expenditure limit is still a concern. The action that was taken by the legislature in February was to address fiscal year 2022. So fiscal 2023 is still affected by the AEL. We're watching this closely, and we've provided an update previously to the board that if there is not a long-term fix, a permanent solution, and be that voter action in November or legislative action, we would have to plan for something similar to what we had earlier in the spring. And so we shared areas that we would go to as a first step to address any identified excess over what would have been Peoria Unified's portion of the expenditure limit. And so, again, these are the areas that we would look to in the future. And I also will mention that the AEL in part did slow down some of our compensation work, the unknown for 2022, and we shared that with the board as well. Future recommendations, of course, our budget team will continue with administration to identify priorities in the future. We have a meeting on Monday. There will also be a few final open items addressed at the meeting, as well as the priorities for next year. And depending on final action from the legislature, there is the potential, depending on what that may be, the outcome of the final budget, we may call an additional meeting or two with our budget team if there is something to consider that's outside of our pro forma and something that technically we couldn't anticipate at this time. And so with that, that concludes the presentation. Tonight's agenda, again, is for discussion purposes only, and we'll be bringing this back on April 28th. Administration is available to answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Myers. Board members, questions, comments? Ms. Hill?
Yes, actually, thank you for putting all this together. I know it's quite a task. There's a lot of information there. I guess my only concern, and it's a big one, obviously you already brought up the aggregate expenditure. I see a lot of stipends in there, a lot of increases in pay, a lot of extra money going out. is that really wise? I mean, I just wonder if that's, you know, an overstep, since we don't know what the future is going to be. I'm from a family that budgets, and you don't spend money you don't have, you know, and if you don't know the future, you just don't spend it. So I guess I have concerns that we're spending money that possibly we just don't have. And so I guess maybe if you could answer for me, what exactly would we do if they did pull the plug on us and pull out that rug by 2023, and we've pushed all this, we've made promises that we're going to give monies that we maybe really don't have, or it's going to make it very difficult for us. So where are we at with that?
Thank you. President Sandoval, Mrs. Hill, your question is excellent, and you'll recall we actually slowed down our budget process to get our bearings because there were so many unknowns. And one thing that I will say, the projections that we're bringing forward are within new funding, be it M&O and capital or classroom site fund. They're a manageable amount that if there was the AEL concern that we had for 2022, we again have identified resources, relief valves of areas that we could go to early in the year to start pulling back in between our carry forward and our reserves that we have with classroom site fund and M&O, calendar modifications, suspending stipends, professional development. I've got them listed here. Those are things we could do also in our contract. There are some furlough days that are always identified, and a small percentage that could be a pay reduction. So we've looked at this mix and said, we feel comfortable. And here's why it's important. At this point, we're bringing forward these minimum recommendations. We have team members who are making decisions about their employment. We have other districts that are offering increases that are very competitive, that they may not have done some of the work we've done throughout the whole year or over the last few years. Again, you have to look at progress to date over many years. But people are looking at inflation pressures, grocery bills going up, fuel costs. 3% is not 8.5%. And so we have to ensure we're not only attracting and recruiting the best and the brightest, but retaining our qualified staff. And so we're bringing forward what we believe would be a minimum recommendation for next year. It's within our budget pro forma. We are able to bring this forward with confidence, and we'll manage it with fidelity and navigating the AEL next year.
I just want to make sure that we're good in the books, you know what I mean? And I know you're good with books. I know you've got it all together. I just wanted to have it kind of explained to me a little bit further. With the aggregate expenditure, can they wait? I mean, is it possible we won't know what's going to happen for 2023 until, like, we'll say the end of this year, the end of this fiscal year, like December? I mean, can it go that far, or do they have a deadline? I don't know how that works.
In my legislative update, I'll talk about there's no set deadline for the legislature to conclude working for the year. We're approaching the 100th day of the session. A lot can happen, and so I can't predict what will happen other than the legislative session is still underway.
So it's a wait and see, and it could be last minute. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Ms. Hill. Dr. Sorensen?
No, sir.
Ms. Underhill?
No, thank you. Appreciate the presentation.
Representative Figueroa? Ms. Myers, thank you very much. As always, very complete, very clear, transparent, diligent. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to 11.2, Health Data Update. Mr. Moss, welcome, sir.
Thank you. President Sandoval, members of the governing board, Dr. Reynolds. Been a while since we talked, about a month since the last board meeting. Just to give you an indication of what we've been doing and kind of tracking. This is a map that was just today, and the map is of Maricopa County, and that is a zip code map. All those little white little areas are zip codes, and you can see that everyone is green because the scores are low enough to make everyone green in Maricopa County. The good part about my information is this is the third week in a row that map has been exactly the same. It shows that we are, again, I'm going to knock on wood again, as always, that we are somewhat past what's happening. past the COVID issues that we've had. There's also some new information. A few weeks ago, Governor Ducey removed the emergency health declaration statewide, which gave us then Maricopa County the ability to say that they have removed our mandatory reporting requirements. So what that means is we've been able to not had to report every kid, every student, track them, where they're going, all those kind of things. We've just been able to have the doctors provide that information to the county. What it's really done to the data, I believe, has made it a little bit maybe not as accurate as it has been in the past when mandatory reporting was required. But again, we're still moving that process forward. Because of these two changes and because of the low numbers, doesn't mean that we've not been vigilant and not aware of the potential that is still out there. And so we continue to have mitigation strategies with hand sanitizer, cleaning products, air purifiers are still in place. All those things are still in place. We're still moving those things forward. Our principals are very happy with this process. They get back to the process of teaching and learning. We've had many data meetings in the last few weeks with their extra time. We've been able to practice some assessments that they're going to take. There are state assessments coming up. We've been planning for summer school, those things that are going to help the students. And so that's really what's been going on instead of that time they spent tracking COVID for the last 18 months or so. And I will stand for questions with the health data.
Thank you, Mr. Moss. Questions, comments? Ms. Hill?
Oh, you know I'm going to be happy. Hallelujah. Yes, it's about time. So yay. So like you say, we don't have to spend all this time and resources, trying to figure out who's got what and where and when. So we can just move on with the things we need to do, which is getting our kids up to speed with their academics. So this is fantastic. I'm very, very happy and pleased. So thank you for sharing the information.
Thank you, Ms. Hill. Dr. Sorensen?
No, sir.
Ms. Underhill?
Just thank you, and I'm still trying to figure out a way to move you up on the agenda somehow.
We just save the best for last. Okay.
Well, actually, if you don't mind, right before you Mr. Moss, I'm not sure you talked about this being our last health data update.
I would like to say this is our last health data update. Unfortunately, that's not always my decision. But I believe this could be our last health data update. Obviously, we will continue to track the information, and if things change, we'll bring that back to you as an opportunity to put things in place.
So potentially not moving up on the agenda, but off. Just wanted to thank you, Mr. Moss. Sorry to interrupt, Representative Pingerelli.
Representative Pingerelli? Yeah. So, Mr. Moss, along those lines of this, from what I understood, anyway, it's more of a transition, yes, from a health data update to what we are doing regarding restoring recovery, right? Uplifting our students academically, from a, just overall health-wise, right? So, looking forward to understanding what that may look like as we move forward. I think it'd be great for us, including the community, to, have a, at least when I say frequent, I don't mean every board meeting, but it's certainly a frequent understanding of what we are doing as a district to, again, uplift their students, as we, I don't want to say exit out of this pandemic, but as we move forward in potentially somewhat of a new way, and as we operate as an organization, right? I think fundamentally a lot of our operations will be pretty static, but I think there are probably some learnings that we realized over the last couple of years that, where we can be better, where we can integrate and continue to innovate as an organization. So just looking forward to understanding more about what we're doing from a recovery perspective, not only from a student regard, but also, all of our associates, teachers, staff, leadership.
I just want to thank Mr. Moss. You have been a stalwart in this process. So thank you for assisting us in all the ways that you communicate with the community, with the board, and hanging with us till the end of the agenda each board meeting. So thank you for your contributions, your service. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Moss. All right, moving on to section 12. 12.1, reporting on upcoming meetings and events. Ms. Airy.
President Sandoval, members of the board, there are many upcoming meetings and events, but nothing more to add other than what's on the agenda this evening.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, 12.2, legislative, state, and local updates. Ms. Myers.
Good evening again, President Sandoval, members of the governing board, Dr. Reynolds. I'll add some additional comments to what I shared in the presentation. As you know, the legislative session began on January 10th. And Arizona is one of only a few states that does not have a set date for the session to actually end each year. The general goal is 100 days, and we are about to pass that threshold in just a few days. Although there is not a set deadline, there are deadlines along the way that include, and this one is significant, is the time has passed to consider legislation in committees. So we've moved past that critical mark. Now, of course, various pieces of legislation have already been signed into law. To date, Governor Ducey has signed 135 bills during the legislative session, and we expect many more to be brought forward for his signature. But before the legislature can adjourn, the state budget must be passed. And so that's the priority focus right now. And it's likely that there will be several more weeks of work between the House and the Senate and negotiations before the legislative session can end. You'll recall last year the legislative session went to the end of June, and there was discussion of a skinny budget, and we had to work with that type of a format. I don't know if we'll get into that same scenario this year or not, but during the budget presentation, I did highlight the Strike Everything Amendment, Senate Bill 1269, which would change how school districts are funded, as well as the AEL. We talked about that during the presentation. So we're monitoring those two open items as well as other education-related bills closely to determine and understand the impact to Peoria Unified, and we'll bring updates as appropriate. And with that, that concludes my report this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Myers. All right, moving on to 12.3, Budget Facilities Planning and Construction Report. This report is on our website for your viewing at your convenience. 12.4, District Budget Report for the month of February 2022. A budget that is also, or a document that is also on our website. 12.5, District Enrollment Report for the month of February 2022, also on our website. Going on to section 13.1, board member opportunity to readdress agenda items. Ms. Hill, any items that you'd like to readdress this evening?
No, thank you.
All right. Dr. Sorensen?
No, sir.
All right. Ms. Underhill? No, thank you. Representative Pingrode? No. Neither do I. Thank you. 13.2, requests for agenda items for future governing board meetings. Ms. Hill, any items?
None at this time, thank you.
Okay. Dr. Sorensen?
No, sir.
Ms. Underhill? No, thank you. Representative Pingrode? The bond committee, is that something that's scheduled for an update to the board coming up soon, or would it be appropriate for me to request that to be added to a future governing board meeting? Just a really overarching overview of where we're at and how we're doing.
Well, thank you, President Sandoval. Yes, we can do that in addition to the updates that I provide in the Friday report. I do provide that after a meeting. And of course, for our community, our Citizens Advisory Bond Committee meetings are open to the public. We do publish the minutes if anyone's curious what has been covered and discussed so far, and we can certainly provide a mid-process update to the governing board if you would like to do that.
Yeah, that would be great. I would need a second just to kind of formalize that. Anyway.
Second, I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Underhill. Perfect, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, moving on to section 14, adjournment. I do need a motion to adjourn this meeting at 9:01 p.m.
I move that we adjourn.
I'll second that. Ms. Contra, we have a motion by Ms. Hill and a second by myself to adjourn this meeting at 9:01 p.m. Board members, please cast your votes. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, board members. Have a great evening. Cabinets, community, Thank you. Have a great evening.